Hello. Welcome to the San Juan School District Board of Education meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 15th, and it is 3:01 p.m.
16.
We have in attendance today. What's up?
June 16th.
What did I say?
15.
Today is the 16th, that's right. We have in attendance today board members Ron Nelson, Lucille Cody, Vice President Colleen Benali, myself, President Nan Barton, and Don Mose III.
Thank you.
Superintendent Fitzgerald and Business Administrator Jacob Swanson, as well as other San Juan School District staff and leadership. Thank you for joining us. The first item today will be to approve the agenda. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for June 16, 2026 school board meeting.
So Cody, second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will start with the first item, which is the spotlight report. We'll turn the time over to Dr. Fitzgerald.
All right, thank you, Board and Board President. I'm excited to share, this was our 4th annual District Team Day that we had this past week. How District Team Day works is in the morning we have directors and our supervisors come with a small group of team members and we do some learning together to build leadership capacity throughout the organization. And then we have lunch together and invite all of the rest of our employees assigned to the central office. So that includes transportation, buildings and grounds, the media center, food service, all of that. They come for lunch and then we do a team building activity. So this year our theme for the year is Listen to Learn. We're in Blanding with the Bears ears, and you can see you have a little representation of what our theme is for the year. So this is Listen to Learn and Listen to Lead. So it's really thinking about how can we develop as leaders to be better listeners and understand those that we're working with, whether that's an individual in our department, whether that's parents, community members, or students. So as part of that, we've been working with Deloitte with their Courageous Principals and their School Leadership Alliance in Utah. And they have what they have developed is called the business chemistry model. And the business chemistry model is based upon research of looking at how do individuals function, how does that work in the workplace, and how do different work functions work with each other. So you'll look at your little notepad, you can see their fun chemistry symbol for the 4 different areas of work function. They are pioneer, guardian, driver, and integrator. And as we move through the year, I can share more information about this with you as well. But we had our teams in the morning take a little quiz and help them understand their own work function and how they go about work at San Juan School District. It might be different at home or in other relationships, but at San Juan School District. And then they worked on what does that look like for others that I work with one-on-one. And so they worked through that. And then we thought about it as a team, as we're working as a team with different work functions, what does that look like? And we've been working closely with the School Leadership Alliance, who's helped develop this program. And we had a great time together presenting. It was fun to present with the business administrator. And then we had a great time for our team building. And so we went to the food bank and were able to put together the food bags for Navajo Mountain, which was really exciting for us to be able to have it be so close to the communities that we care about in our schools. And then we did Price is Right food bank edition, which was really fun for our team to wrap up the day. So just appreciate the support that we received from the food bank, from our district team. We have an amazing central office team in all of our departments and appreciate their involvement and their service of the food bank and just the fun that we had together as we kick off the new year and the work that we'll be doing.
Superintendent Fitzgerald, can you get Deloitte to have a school board training meeting and bring us all out there?
Well,
Can you work with them on that one?
Yeah, I'll talk to them. I don't know that they've developed the school board side of things, but I will bring that up. It's a great idea.
Tell them we are first in line.
Yes, I love that idea. I will. Their program is expanding, and the School Leadership Alliance just went together with, oh my gosh, the Cook. Oh my, I can't think of. You probably know what it is, but the Cook Center. Oh, I just forgot. But they just joined forces, so that's going to expand the work that we do in Utah as well. So that's really exciting to see the supports that they're doing to really support education in Utah. So.
You know more than I do, but Deloitte trains CEOs, correct? And so
they train.
They've taken that program and tailored it for school leadership. So
absolutely. So they've been doing this for over. You did that.
I want to say 10 years now. They have over 1 million global users, and they said before they even had that big milestone of 1 million users. They said about 40% of Fortune 500 companies have used the services at Deloitte, and so it's the business chemistry. It's specifically related to the business chemistry that we did with the district team here, and so it was fantastic when we did it at Deloitte University, and I felt like it went pretty well when we did it here for the district office as well.
Yeah, and then we'll be working with the School Leadership Alliance throughout the year for principals meetings, so that will be our focus this year with principals, is doing that training. Part of our monthly principals meeting will include that continued training as we consider listening to learn and listening to lead and being better listeners as leaders. So, yeah, good stuff.
So it would be beneficial to have
Yeah.
that training,
Oh, yeah.
pilot
Yeah.
program.
We're getting first in line.
Yeah. We'll just let Superintendent Fitzgerald do the board training today.
We
With the
definitely
principals.
could, the
Yeah.
two of us could put that in as board training if you want to do some business chemistry work, because their model is having us be facilitators, so they're supporting us as facilitators so we can continue that work throughout our whole
Awesome.
district. So if that's something
Yeah.
that you want to do as part of board training, we definitely could do some of
Yeah,
that.
that's
So.
good to know. Thank you. I think the next item on our agenda is the secondary reading intervention curriculum adoption. So we'll welcome Jeff Wingett up here to tell us all about it again.
Again. All right, so last time we talked, we talked about going through the process to make a recommendation for adopting secondary reading curriculum. I shared a presentation with you guys. I don't know if you can see it.
We have it on our computer, so they'll put it
Okay.
up hopefully as well.
Okay, and it just basically has the process that we went through. So we looked at 3 different programs that were all on the Utah RIMS list as approved curriculum. So we looked at HMH, Read 180, Voyager Sopris, Language Live, that's what we're using currently, and Lexia Power Up Literacy. And to just look at the process, so Language Live is currently being used in the reading courses, so we've had a good look at that program. Lexia Power Up is being used as an intervention tool throughout the district, so we've also looked at that as well. And then we had 2 secondary reading classrooms at Whitehorse High School and at Monument Valley High School, pilot Read 180. We also, as part of that pilot, all of the teachers were able to access the materials and go through it and ask questions. We had Rob, I can't remember his name, and he just left Read 180. Anyway, he was our rep that walked us through the pilot, and he was available for all of the teachers to ask questions and get all of the information that they needed. We also had links to the program information placed on the district website for parents with my email address and my phone number for them to provide feedback. Nobody took me up on that, but it was there. And so then after that, we met as a team. We discussed the programs. People expressed concerns. People expressed what they like. We also discussed it in secondary breakout with principals, and then I created a form so that everybody could vote on what they wanted. So the survey results are there on slide 5. And so we had 11 responses. 9 responses said to adopt Read 180. 1 said to stay with Language Live, and the explore other options in the comments put we should use Read 180 for middle school and Language Live for high school, which would be a split adoption and it would cost $1 million. So, but to me that says they're okay with Read 180. They just liked it as so I would say that's 9.5 to 1, or yeah, no, 10 and 9.5 to 1.5. I don't know. Anyway, it was almost unanimous. Sorry, go through there. So my recommendation after that process is that we should adopt Read 180 for our secondary reading classes beginning next year. Do we have any questions?
Are you excited about that?
I'm
or-
very excited about it.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I didn't vote. I didn't want to muddy the process with my own thoughts. But I am excited. I think Read 180 is the gold standard for language or for reading acquisition training. It's my understanding we wanted it before this. I've had principals asking me for this for 3 years. So.
And there is time, with it being middle of June, to get it all?
Yeah, I have a meeting set up with Read 180 tomorrow to get the process moving if you guys vote to approve it.
Okay. And you're confident with the 11 responses
Yeah.
that this is?
Yeah, I mean, we only have, we have, what, 6 reading teachers in the district, and so between that and the principals that voted,
It's pretty much everybody.
pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions?
I think
We'll
we're
be
good.
ready to go for the fall.
Yep, we'll be ready to go. I think I can have materials here by the middle of July, and we would have an all-day launch training here at the district office in the first part of August. So, it'll be a quick turnaround, but we can make it work.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll invite Laura
On for
to
the
talk
next
about
couple,
that.
I think. So the first one is an LEA-specific endorsement request for a teacher at Whitehorse High School. I recognize it's unusual for the board to be getting this request in June. This was a mid-year hire at the school, and we couldn't do a request until they earned their license, and they applied for reciprocity. They're an out-of-state license, so we didn't get the license until later, so it's been a delayed process. However, to remain in compliance for the courses this educator taught the last half of the year, we do need to request this endorsement. I have had multiple conversations with this educator. They are already working on earning the endorsement, but we will need this in place while they finish a couple of courses.
Okay. Any questions? That was easy.
That was easy.
Thank you.
The next one's our
You
fun
are the
one
next
for
one,
today, I
yep.
think.
This one might be a little more complicated.
Yeah, I might be up here for a minute. All right, so following the direction we received from the board during last month's meeting, we compiled a list of comparison of school board member compensation from across the state. I do want to note that all of this data is from, I believe, January 2025, so it is about a year old, but we don't anticipate there was much change since then. But as you can see from, if you reviewed the spreadsheet, the review indicates that our current pay is fairly competitive. The schools that are ahead of us are usually larger school districts. However, we do recognize that the travel and time commitment for our board is unique and a little different than a lot of the school districts on there. So while I believe last month the comment was made, this is a very active board, and we recognize that as well, but we also wanted to take into account that this level of engagement might fluctuate in future years. So based on that review, what our recommendation was to leave our monthly compensation maintained at its current level, but adding maybe a meeting stipend equal to $100 per meeting for meetings that would fall within your discretionary budget category in our board handbook, with a maximum a maximum of $1,200 per fiscal year. And then we also wanted to explore the option of adding board leadership pay, so maybe $100 additional per month for board members in the leadership roles because they are taking on some added responsibilities onto their plate. And I did want to note, I think we have it on the notes there as well, but if the board would like to move forward with any changes to the compensation schedule, we would need to hold a public hearing and share that compensation schedule at another open board meeting.
Okay,
And adjust policy, sorry, I didn't meet that. This is written in our policy, so we would have to update that.
so you're just presenting it to us today. We'll have to we'll advertise it and show what it would look like.
Yes,
at
the
a
board would need to
future
give us
board-
direction on what they would like that to look at like, and then we'd have to hold a public hearing at our next board meeting.
And it would have to qualify as one of the meetings that it is approved. And you would submit for, somewhat like we do for reimbursement for meals and
That's how I'm
mileage?
anticipating that
Okay.
working. Through our accounts payable than through payroll.
Okay. So, this is all new to most of us, so just leave it open to questions.
I think I more or less had a comment, and looking at the spreadsheet, I mean, we're kind of like smack dab in the middle with the pay that was presented, so my question was if it was gonna be, cost of living, with inflation rates going up and all that, and that was my worry, I guess, essentially, so seeing that we are more or less in the middle of anything, but also, it's nice to see that, to attend more board functions and holding us accountable, that we do have a bit available for incentives to be there and to be 100% active. I mean, that's the nice thing about it. So thank you, Laura. I really don't have any other questions. It's a weird month, guys. I don't have much questions this board meeting.
I made the comment to a family member, I know that my vice president will have all the questions. So we're all gonna get-
I'll think
but
of some.
I think some of you were wondering what kind of meeting this might be.
Yeah, no, I was wondering.
that one of the
Yeah,
meetings that you
And then on top of that, just how long we've been at $340.
That's really up to the board. But I said so I went and read the board handbook that was created, and we do have it online. So when I read through the categories of non-discretionary and discretionary, the meetings we're talking about being in addition would fall within that discretionary category.
Do you want me to read them off?
Yeah, if you'd like to read that,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
So, under that discretionary budget, you have USBA Leadership Committee Service and Trainings, NAFIS and NISA, so if you attend either of those conferences, chapter meetings and other elected visits in the capacity as a school board member. Others at the discretion of the board member. The event must be mainly for board members in general, or the board member must be in the official capacity as a board member while attending the event.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So not state basketball.
No.
And I think some of the thinking behind this is that San Juan is unique. We are very, very, very large geographical district versus some districts who are very tiny. So thinking about if you're attending Navajo Mountain chapter meeting, I mean, that's a pretty big lift for a board member to be able to attend. So we're thinking, this additional pay would match those additional duties that would look a little bit different than a lot of the districts throughout the state. So we felt like this would be a good way to pair that up in a very equitable way, but also considering the public, and these are public funds, that the public can understand why you would need that additional pay for those types of things.
And I also there was the question about when it was adopted, when the last time we changed the rates were. While this isn't, I couldn't tell you exactly, I can tell you the last time the policy was updated, it looks like was in January of 2021. I don't know if at that time the policy updated the compensation or if there was something else. And it's just, this is policy number 2240. And it deals with all of the compensations and benefits of the board. But that's the last time the policy itself was adjusted. So no later than 2021.
Okay, so just to be clear, in order to get the incentives from our discretionary funds, then we would still need to have the public hearing, or would that just be a policy change?
We still need that because we're changing your compensation.
So all the regular things that you get with your discretionary funding, nothing will change with that. We're just adding now. You get reimbursed for your travel and expenses that you do when you go to those meetings, but now you'll also get a $100 stipend for going to those meetings as well, with a cap of $1,200 total. I mean, that's the recommendation. Obviously, whatever we end up doing is going to be up to the board. So rather than adding the $100 just to the overall compensation of the board, we thought we have a very active board right now, and we really appreciate that. And I hopefully this incentivizes future boards to get out and be active as well and go to those meetings by saying that you'll, in addition to getting your travel reimbursed, you'll also get the $100 stipend for going to those as well.
And thanks for using the word stipend, because I think I said accounts payable, so I think that would be better to put it through payroll, submit, you went to a meeting, we process it as an extra pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misspoke before.
But I think to take it, not to be taken advantage of too, we also need to word, I guess this would be a policy thing, to word out that actual work is gonna be done if there's attendance from a board member, whether it's doing a presentation, speaking on behalf of the district, so on and so forth. I mean, we could attend all we wanted, and that would be one of the things, unfortunately, that would be taken advantage of. So I just want that to be clear as well within that too. If we
Like
could-
being on the agenda.
Yeah. And I know some of our leadership from the chapters have been calling and asking for board members to attend and to also possibly do a presentation as to, and which we've been also with transparency with wanting for impact aid, all these different things that they're not so familiar. So this would be perfect for that.
And that was part of our conversation as well, is that we know that, we think about that tribal consultation and the requests that they're making, and that's one of the things that they continually request is board members to interact with the chapters. So I think that's a great point in getting on their meeting schedule. I know that is a specific request we are receiving from tribal leaders, so I think this aligns with that very nicely.
And frankly, even if you're not on those agendas, I think there is still power in you being there and showing that our school board cares to be present in those meetings and present for the chapters, so.
Oh, and I agree with you totally. I mean, you're there with your peers in your community, and, there's always somebody who has a question,
For sure.
that needs to.
And obviously, there needs to be accountability documentation that you were there and that there was actual, not just attendance, but participation. So,
Sure.
but I would assume that if you're there is going to be, they're not just going to let you sit in the back. They're going to be like, "And what are you doing down?" Yep.
Well, and I think us as board and board leadership, that was one thing that we asked too, is that we're not just limited to our voting district of me going to Monument Valley and attending Aljato, or Ron coming to Montezuma or Red Mesa or what have you too. So I think that needs to be also
Yeah,
something that we need
I'm
to.
welcome to that as well, so we
Okay.
would love to get out and.
Check out
do
different
the
communities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if there's something that's not specific to the discretionary budget, but it could fall within that, we could request possible, in advance. We wouldn't just assume that we would have it, but if I was invited to a women's leadership thing, that might, community leadership or whatever,
Yeah.
which I have been, but I didn't go to. But anyway, those kinds of things, maybe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
About our leadership. I mean, as far as,
The extra,
mhm.
I think that would, for me, that would be my incentive for you. Maybe you're not interested in leadership, but this would be a kick to be like,
Gotcha.
hey, maybe.
Yeah. And for real though, I mean, I do appreciate the work that you guys do, on top of the board membership. So I do think that compensation would be definitely something that I would vote for. It came to it.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. I guess I'd like the other input from other members of the board if you think that that's appropriate or.
I would say that I think it could be appropriate. I don't see the amount, but I think it could be appropriate to have a stipend to be in the leadership roles, yes.
And that would actually not be a stipend, would it? Or
No,
would it?
but
It'd be
That's
added
part of
to
your
your,
compensation. Yeah.
Compensation.
Like compensation.
And you can see as well in the spreadsheet, that's not terribly uncommon. There's a few other school districts that
there's
do that.
there's a few school districts that are doing something similar.
And we would just be similar to what everybody else is doing as well. I mean, we're unique, like Dr. Fitzgerald said, is in a lot of ways too. So I don't think, just because they're a bigger district, it doesn't mean that they're driving the same equivalents as we are too.
Yep.
And mileage is one thing, but there's also time
The
and
time.
effort put into that. And so I do appreciate the thoughtfulness that all of you have put into this. because I made just an ask of what would this look like, and you actually made something.
That's kind of something
Yeah.
we don't ever think about
Yeah.
in our area, is the amount of driving, the
Yeah.
time it takes to get anywhere
Yeah.
around here, so, yeah, that is,
And as far as I know, I'm always out there supporting, just being out there and just,
Yeah.
I always think my position is a volunteer thing, so I'm
and,
always
and Lucille
not
came
asking.
to our graduation in Monument Valley, which was wonderful to see you there, and she had her school colors on too, so.
Yeah, I did.
I thought that was great to see you
I
there,
love to
so.
see the success stories of our kids and all the smiles and, you know, the joy and everything
Yeah.
you see out there. It brings joy to you. So I enjoy that.
I had a comment, but I
It's
don't.
like I see Colleen.
I'm all, it's
over
working.
Yeah, I
Good
caught
question.
Colleen.
Oh gosh, I lost it. Man, kick it over to you. I forgot what I was gonna say.
So, we need to determine if we want to go forward with this, and then we would advertise it as a change in, a budget change.
It would be a public
It'd be a
hearing.
public
Public
hearing
hearing.
for a change in
I put the-
compensation schedule.
If you look at the
Okay.
executive content on this board item too, I added the relevant, one of the relevant statutes for notice requirements for changing school board compensation. So it would require us to provide notice of time, place, and purpose of the meeting at least 7 days before the hearing, so.
And that could be within our regular board meeting.
Yeah, so we could do it in August. Just like we're doing the budget hearing today, we would do a hearing for this.
We would probably just advertise it at 6 PM and at the,
Okay.
the district office, boardroom.
And this would fall for, because we move with our impact aid meetings. Would that fall under that, or?
It's similar.
still
So we
similar?
do, with the impact aid, we do a hearing as well, just like we
Yeah.
do with the budget hearing, and this would be a hearing for that, so.
Okay.
And then,
Set it up the same way.
I remember now. I was gonna say, this will go well with our, because I don't even know what my discretionary fund's available for still, and this is my 4th year, and I don't even think I've used it, or I don't even know if if I'm capable of using it too, so there's points adding up there. But I wouldn't know, you know what I mean? So, I'm like Lucille,
Yeah.
I think it's just a volunteer thing, so, I mean.
I mean,
save-
it definitely is a volunteer thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time.
Which,
And
again,
not to
I
say
don't
that
mind, yeah.
the stipend that you get wouldn't come out of the discretionary funds, it's just that the same things that you could use your discretionary funds
Right.
for would be the things that could also qualify you for that
Yeah,
$100
in
per
line with the
meeting.
meetings and trainings that are specifically listed in the discretionary
Right.
portion of your handbook.
And our discretionary funds are listed on the board travel agenda every month, correct? So
They
Yes.
should be at.
That would
See
be
what you
underneath
have,
the
it's all
consent
right
agenda,
there.
so whenever you say, I need reimbursed for such and such, people will know if they know where to look, and we do like to be transparent,
Right.
so.
I'm just saying, even for the board members, if you want to know what you have in your discretionary budget,
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
it's right there.
And also, yeah,
Yeah.
the end of June is coming up, and some of us have traveled, and so if you want to submit that mileage, you're running out of time.
So get it submitted. Jennifer will want it submitted.
Yep.
Oh, and that would be an action item, right, to hold the public hearing if that's,
It's not an action item. I think we just need advisement, administrative advisement of how you'd like us to move forward. So if you'd like us to schedule a hearing with these recommendations for August, that's just what we need to know. If you want to make any changes to any of the amounts or anything like that. I mean, that can still be discussed because it would be an action item at the hearing.
gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, and that doesn't need to be voted on, but if you give us the general nod that you want to move forward with those recommendations, then
I guess
We'll
that's
decide.
something we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
ask.
I think we're ready to move forward with that, so.
And just as an FYI, because Ron brought it up, it's item number 7 on the consent agenda if you want to see what's left in your discretionary spending.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Thank you, Laura.
So that moves into our next agenda item, which is a policy work session we'd like to hold in July. So if you look at that spreadsheet, we have dates on July 6th, 7th, and 8th. All sessions would be from noon to 5 here at the district office. You can also join virtually if you'd like to do that as well. And I tried to group the policies by category, so if there's one thing that interests you more than another, we would love if at least no more than two. We can't have more than two of you signed up for a session to help us work on those policies. So one of the policies we would work on is the board compensation policy after today's meeting as well.
And as part of this, we do have our July board meeting on our schedule. So we'd also just like to know from the board if you would like to continue with that meeting, if you know of needs that you think are going to need to be there. As far as from district administration, we don't see a reason why we need to have the July board meeting.
As long as we're able to do the
Well,
policy work.
and what we felt like with the policy work is that's a lot for the policy committee, those two individuals to have to do just the policy committee. So this will be kind of the ongoing every year as we have new policies from the legislative session that need to go into effect for the new school year. So our thought was to ask any board members that are available to come, and obviously we can't have a quorum. So if we could just have two, even if we have just one, we can still work with that board member with the administrative team to get the policies ready to bring to the board in August. So that would be our recommendation, is to get some support for reviewing the policies so that they're ready for August board meeting, and then not hold our July board meeting.
But we can request all of these policies. You can email those all to us with the red line.
Yeah, and some, well, we haven't worked on them yet, and some of them are going to be new. If you see some are addressing some new legislation, but we can share the work before the board meeting, the August board
meeting.
Yes.
So, does anybody have an opinion about July board meeting before we move forward with the policy discussion?
I know we'd like to not have a July board meeting because that kind of gives everybody the freedom of summer for July anyways, so.
Can we vote on
We didn't put it as an action
It's not an
item.
action item. What day is the August board meeting? Just remind me.
August. It's early. Hang on just a minute, I'll pull it up. August 4th.
August 4th, and the July meeting would be July 18th?
21st.
21st.
Oh, so they're
It's
right.
2 weeks
Really
late.
So,
close.
I will be out of the country. I could attend virtually possibly, but probably not. So it's not a good day for me.
For the August?
July.
I'm supportive of not having a July board meeting.
Same.
Same.
Did you want to vote?
Yeah.
Just joking.
I'm checking my calendar.
But I would encourage people to commit to at least one day in July for this policy work so that we can help it move forward.
I can do 2 days, but I don't know if I'd be taking spots from,
No, if you can do 2 days, that's,
And you can just notify Laura.
Yes.
We don't have to decide that right now, so look at your schedules and your calendars
That
and
is,
see.
I did make it so that the board members could edit that, so you can go fill in your name.
Just type your name right in.
yeah.
Just make sure there's not 3.
Yeah.
Don't take up more than the 2 that are there.
So, yeah, if there's a time that you can do it, put your name in, and then if you see an opening,
This one ends this month.
yeah, there just can't be 3 of us there.
I want to be there for all of them.
And maybe even put yourself down as an alternate. If somebody's not able to come, they can call and say, you said you could come. Can
That's a
you
great
come?"
idea.
And you're offering it virtually as well, right?
We can, yes.
Is this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or?
I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
The 6th would be a travel day, so I'm worried I wouldn't be available that day, so.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. I
Other
Good walk
than,
away.
Yeah,
We're good?
thank you.
Okay.
We're good to go to the next item, which turns the time back over to you.
All right. So as part of our consultation agreement, our IPP, Indian Policies and Procedures, we shared the Native American student participation data in a public board meeting. So this is that event, that item. So you have a copy, a printout, as well as the digital copy. It's interesting as you compare year to year that it's not, we aren't doing by percentage of enrolled students. So while we may have a couple of drops or a couple of areas that have risen, they are pretty much in line with any enrollment adjustments we've had. So it doesn't really stand out to me when there's a minor couple here and there. But what I will say is that we did have a significant increase. I just want to highlight one, that we saw a significant number go up, and that is at San Juan High football. Last year, we had 14 Native American students participating, and this year, our numbers are 27. So I do think that is a significant increase, and that's worth noting. So that's, we are having higher participation there as well. And then there was one other one, I think it was wrestling as well, went up. And part of that is when you consider we have boys and girls wrestling now, so we have seen an increase in Native American girls participating in wrestling now that it is a girls wrestling sport as an official UHSAA. It has been for a number of years, but that program continues to grow, and we're seeing a lot of success there, so that's really exciting. The other numbers, comparing to the previous year, like I said, you could see some enrollment changes, so we have a lower number of students, so we really don't see a significant change in any other numbers. But those two I wanted to, they stand out, so I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you as well. Any questions?
Comment. I just think it's important. I think you said along these lines, but this comes from our Native American Policies and Procedures Manual, that we will look at this. And we're not necessarily looking for, is it exactly even in every sport? What we're looking for, are our Native students, do we believe that they are finding success and that the numbers show that they are participating? Our impact aid money is to be spread across the district. That's what it calls for, but it's also to create an equitable situation for all students, to feel that they have a right and they have an access to programs and to curriculums. So that's what we're looking for. Does it look like our Native students are participating? Are they involved? And so I just want to throw that out, not just for the board, but for the public that's listening, because I think this could be why these could be interesting numbers to even wonder why are we looking at these right now. And that's why we're looking at them, because we said we would in our Native American Policies and Procedures Manual. And as I look at them, I feel pretty good about things. I think our Native students are participating. Of course, we have some very interesting dynamics when you look across the district. You have Monument Valley and Montezuma Creek are nearly 100% Native American students, so any participation there is generally going to be Native American. So really where you will see, where we're probably putting a lot of focus is Blandy. It's just the way our dynamics are made up, is this is the community that has, the kind of the balance between the students there. And as I see that, and it may be that more of our non-native or more of our native might gravitate to one sport or the other with this year, while in 3 years from now they might gravitate to another. That's sometimes based on friendships, it's based on a number of different things. But are they participating as a whole? Anyway, that's enough said for me, but I would just add by saying I do feel encouraged that I think we see lots of participation of our Native students. And there's some very exciting things, like you pointed out, Superintendent Fitzgerald.
Well, thank you for your comments. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to share related to that?
I also have a comment, and it's more or less speaking with a lot of students and hearing from a lot of students when it comes to sports. And again, it's one of those things, unfortunately, that San Juan's going to be the one that's going to be spotlighted in the sense of
They actually have all the sports for one thing.
also that, but you can look on the football for participation being 27 versus 49 for San Juan native versus, I guess I would hate to say versus, but next to the non-natives. And a lot of it I hear is due to the fact that a lot of the students will be put out onto the field. They'll get play time. They'll get the encouragement from the coaches to continue to come and play and everything else, versus like boys and girls basketball. And whereas that's a little different, they're not so much encouraged to join boys or girls basketball team. And a lot of times the students that I spoke to were saying that they won't get play time. So why try out for the basketball team if they know that's what the case is? I know there's very specific instances, and I've encouraged a lot of the students to bring those to light so that we can work on that. So I'm really disheartened to see that there's a lot of participation in Monument Valley. There's a lot of participation in Whitehorse, and not so much participation at San Juan. And I'd like for those numbers to go up. I'd like to know that they have that opportunity to participate equally as just as much. And
Well, you can see with girls basketball.
Yeah.
It is. But yeah, there should be more numbers there.
And that's a lot, and like Ron said too, those could have been fluctuations from the years where it's changed. But you know, I hear a lot too, and that makes me worry that I would like to see more, definitely more, and encourage more. And the funny thing is, and I asked my boys, is how come you guys didn't join drama? And they were like, we're too shy. So as Native boys, that was one thing that I'm like, okay, well, let's put you in this position. How come you were in band? And of course they were like, we're not musically inclined in that sense. So, you know, a lot of that was, I questioned my own kids with that because they attended San Juan. And I'm like, well, Sterling Scholar too was themselves saying, you know, I didn't feel as if I was smart enough to join Sterling Scholar or National Honor Society. And then another question that I asked them looking at this was, we have one non-native and Unity Club versus 61 natives. And I was like, are we not encouraging our non-native students to participate? I go, is there a clause within Unity that says that they can't? And they were like, no, anybody can join Unity. And I said, so well, maybe that's where we're having the discrepancy from versus Unity versus boys basketball or girls basketball or football within our sports, is that we're not advertising enough that everybody's available to join these things and to do these things. So I guess more or less we need to get back on there and advertise for a lot better for both of our students to know that they can do it. There's no policy saying otherwise. And coaches are not picking who can play the most and who aren't picking those, I guess. How to say it nicely. So.
I would add to that, and I think it's just kind of interesting and a little bit the way it is, but it'll always be, it always has been, that basketball is the most challenging sport, no matter what your nationality is, to get on that court. If you go talk to, it doesn't matter if you're talking to Dene or non-Dene, there's tons of people that have felt like basketball was not fair to them because you whittle it down to where there's 5 kids on the court, and it's very competitive. And then if you have a pretty strong program, it even gets far more competitive. And I mean, we have kids that are trying to improve their chances of being on the court, and it starts in 3rd grade. They are traveling around tournaments starting 3rd, 4th grade. How many parents out there might know that this is true? Because you've been there. Because it's just so competitive that
Right.
if you don't pick those skills up. So I agree, girls basketball actually looks really strong at San Juan High right now. Boys basketball does not look as strong. But I think sometimes we've got to also think about, are we missing something that gives them the time to prepare to be successful? Are we missing it at a lower age? Because if they decide they want to play basketball in 9th or 10th grade, I'll be honest with you, it's too late.
Yeah.
They're not getting there. There's too many kids that started in 3rd and 4th grade. So maybe there's ways we could maybe, I don't know, improve the system in the feeder program system on up to it. But that's there. But, football's a sport where you may not get on the field as much. Now they have 11 kids and they play basically 11 on each side, but they don't cut. You're going to be on the sideline at least.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. Wrestling's a sport that they're going to keep them all. So if you want to wrestle, you're going to be on that team. How much you're going to get, varsity time, that may be a question, but they're going to find a spot for you to wrestle. Cross country, they're going to find you a spot. Basketball's that sport where they're going to cut, and they're probably going to keep 12 to 16 kids, and those kids have going to pay a lot of price to have the skill set to be able to be in that. And there's still going to be a lot of feelings, no matter, in all regards. So anyway, this is kind of my coaching and my athletic background coming out right now, but it's a really tricky one. Basketball's definitely the one that's going to be the hardest to balance.
Well, and I have to agree with that because I wish we had the numbers for the non-natives at Whitehorse and MV to show, the participation there. But unfortunately, we're mostly native there too at
About
those schools.
99%,
and
I
so,
believe.
Yeah.
98 to 99, so there may be one or two.
So I just barely pulled up San Juan High, and they are 48% native and 52% non-native. And then I can give you MV is... Give you the numbers, hang on just a second.
Well, while we're looking for that, Christy, I mean, wrestling, Ron, you bring up a good point with wrestling too. We have 29 native kids trying out or being in wrestling compared to the 21.
Yeah,
So,
and
I
softball's
mean-
like that too.
So you're seeing that there's quite, they're definitely navigating towards wrestling right now, and that's very healthy, great
Yeah.
place to be.
So Monument Valley is 4% non-native, and Whitehorse is 0% non-native, so right now, so.
Wow.
I'd just like to have those numbers bump up a bit more if we could. I mean, and that would just be students themselves wanting to join and participate and also being encouraged to do so as well, so.
It's less than 10 students, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that this is an important conversation because I think what we're looking at is what are the barriers for students participating? One is our feeder programs. One is, many students choose to travel to San Juan High instead of attending Whitehorse. So that is a significant barrier when you're doing extracurriculars because that's a huge commitment to not only travel, but
Stay that
then
late.
stay that late, still keep your academics going, that additional time. So, any insights, that we hear from the board or as the community is listening to board meeting, if you have insights on how we can move those barriers. I know at San Juan High, their big initiative for the last couple of years has been Join the Herd. You've probably seen their signs, and they call it, it's kind of like Rush Week, but it's for signing up for clubs because their goal is that they want every single student to have signed up to participate in something, whether it's athletics or a club, and so they do a big rush for all of that at the very beginning of the school year. So I do know there's other barriers, and we would anything we can do to help remove those barriers. That's really what this conversation is about, so that our students can have as many opportunities as possible. So as you think of barriers, please share them with us as the administrative team, community members that are listening. If you know of barriers, please reach out to my office as well. We want to work together, and it's going to be a community effort. It can't just be the school district, just like, Board Member Nielsen was speaking about feeder teams. How do we put these feeder teams together so we can have that success? Soccer's a fairly new program. program here at San Juan High, and there's been a lot of community members who've rallied around that and are building that program. It's really exciting to see those efforts, and that's what it's going to take, right, for all of our students to have these opportunities. So I just wanted to share that as well and ask for additional feedback as possible.
Well, and to reach off of that is, and reason why I asked this is because on your next presentation, Dr. Fitzgerald, we had a student ask these questions with sports coaching behavior and sports environment. And so my student's not here, and I got to be the board member to ask these hard questions and to bring up these hard scenarios, and especially when we have the numbers here. And if we don't have the public asking these questions yet, I mean, it could be one of those things of they're shy, or they don't want to make it sound as if it's confrontational, or they're not sure how to ask. So in representing my students and my parents that I have there, that's one thing. Looking at these numbers, I was a little sad that maybe they didn't have as much participation as they did at San Juan versus Whitehorse, or definitely got the thoughts running. And luckily I have my own little test group at home that attended all these schools that, I can ask these questions to. And it's definitely not knocking the coach, the administrations, and, the high schools out. As we know, when you get into your teens, you could be a great basketball player in junior high and not want to participate in high school too. So I just want to make sure that full transparency again, that we do have the encouragement there. So hopefully when these numbers come back next school year, it's a little different. So students help me out, parents help me out, so we can, when we reflect back on this, that we made sure we covered all of our bases on that. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
No questions, but it's comments this month.
It's fine. Okay, so anything else, or should we move on to the next? I think we're good to go to the citizen questions and comments related to.
So these are our feedback comments forms that have been filled out, or comments in board meetings, and these are the proposed responses to those individuals. Many of those individuals have already been contacted, but we do, as part of our IPP, we agree to put this in writing and have the board approve those responses. So any edits you want to make to the responses, we can do that. This will be an action item to approve this, so if you would like adjustments, that could be part of the conversation. Again, most of these people have been met with actually in person. Almost all of them have been met with in person, as well as having additional phone conversations as well.
Question, and a lot of them were encouraged to come to Whitehorse's Parent Climate Conference as well too. So.
And yeah, several of these were from our Impact 8 meeting. I guess I would have a question. What is the Navajo Revitalization Fund?
It's a funding source that they use for a number of things through the individual chapters, where they can vote on using that funding and can be allocated. But as far as my understanding is, we don't receive any of that money through education. It's not for educational purposes, so.
Okay.
It's more community based.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that will be on as an action item later today.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Yeah, I think we have just enough time for the Xeriscape discussion.
Okay.
Turn it over to you, Jake.
I can make it pretty brief too, but You might recall a few months ago during board meeting, it's when Principal Schaefer and Principal Atcity were giving their board report, that we mentioned that the Capital Committee and myself, Steve, and Superintendent Fitzgerald were looking into doing xeriscaping at the front of Whitehorse High School. So we are just generally trending towards less grass across the school district. But even more so at Whitehorse High School, for those of you that have seen the building, I think that's all of you since we all had our Impact 8 hearing just there this year. The front of the building has sustained stains that come from the sprinklers. Even after removing the stains a few years ago, it did not take long for them to come back on the front of the building. So the best solution and the only solution that we can really see with that is to remove the grass and go with xeriscaping. All of you, I think, have had the chance to look at the xeriscaping in front of San Juan High School, Blanding Elementary School. You know, we're not going to throw rocks in there willy-nilly. It's going to look very, very good. It's going to look very professionally done. But that's what the first bid, you'll see in the bid tabulation there, we have a base bid and then we have an alternate bid. So the base bid is just for doing the xeriscaping at Whitehorse High School. But we do have a very similar problem at the housing at Montezuma Creek. You know, the same thing with the sprinklers that stain the side of the buildings. You know, if you ever want to see pictures of that, feel free to ask. I know Steve has taken plenty of pictures of that and has documented that. The caveat there, though, is that there's a lot of ground to cover with housing if we're going to do xeriscaping out there. So that's why you'll see that the pricing for doing the xeriscaping at the housing is almost triple what it is just to do at the high school. You know, we definitely recommend having the xeriscaping done at Whitehorse High School. And, you know, I could also support doing the xeriscaping at housing as well, especially if, you know, one of the next things that we'll eventually bring to the board is to redo soffit and fascia and redo the siding at Whitehorse High or at the Montezuma Creek housing. And so the only way it would make sense for us to redo the siding at Montezuma Creek housing is if we did do the xeriscaping. Otherwise, we'll just have the same problem that we have now with the sprinkler stains on the side. So we did want to bring those numbers, though. So those are the numbers. Whatever the board chooses to accept, whether you choose to accept none of the bids, base bid or alternate one, kind of wanted to just have that discussion with the board here today.
I was just going to make a comment that I recently learned there's a difference between xeriscaping and xeriscaping with the eye. And the eye, there's still planting going on. It's not
Yeah.
pure rocks. It's just, so there still will be like natural.
Drought
Yeah,
resistant.
Drought-resistant plants.
And Steve's really looking into, there's been a number of community members that want the trees along with that too, and so.
Because you don't want just rock.
Right.
That just adds too much heat. You know, you still like the coolness of, and also the lack of erosion from real plants, so.
Mhm.
um,
And those will be on a drip system too, so we won't need sprinklers for the
Okay.
shrubbery and for the plants out there.
So you'll keep the shrubbery, the trees.
There'll be new shrubbery and
Oh, okay.
trees that,
Okay.
yeah, at the front of the building there.
Front of the building, yeah.
And not, you know, we're not gonna put in like massive oaks that are gonna destroy the foundation or anything, but
Right.
something that's appropriate for the landscape and for the area that we live in.
And
That
that-
will have success, so.
And does the housing currently have any trees or not really?
I think there's a few
Yeah.
scattered across there,
I know you
yeah.
have some grass.
Mhm.
So would it be taking all of that out, or would
So there
it
will still be grass in like the playground areas, but there would not be any, and so that's also, you know, there's obviously pros and cons there too. People do have animals and stuff that live on the housing, and as long as people are picking up after their dogs, but that's, you know, people do tend to like having grass for that reason for sure, so.
I guess that was gonna be my next
Yeah.
question is,
Yeah.
you're gonna do the front of the building from the gym towards the shop on,
Yes.
in front of the high school, right?
Mhm.
And then the housing, would it go down that little hill all the way to the fence line where the school?
I don't believe it goes that far up.
Or-
I could be wrong though, I'd have to confirm with Steve on how far up it
It's been a
goes.
minute. So if we can,
So they're coming, if we accept this, they'll come, but it will ultimately cost us less if we do both now as opposed to,
Right. If we were to plan on doing xeriscaping later on down the road just at housing, obviously there'd be a higher cost because of mobilization. So this is taking into account that there's only going to be one mobilization fee because they'd already be down here.
but then we also are going to need to do some with other what was it that you said, the soffit and fascia?
Oh, the soffit and the fascia and siding and.
Siding, yeah.
And that'll be a different RFP for a different time, but
Yeah.
that's, we
Okay.
we definitely don't want to start doing that. And masonry repairs, that's the other part of it. After we do the xeriscaping, they're going to repair the masonry, get rid of the staining, and that should be the end of them. So, but we don't want to do any of that before we no longer have a reliance on the sprinklers, because
They're just
then we'd be
gonna-
back at square one, so.
So the base bid would just be the front of the building, correct?
The base bid would just be Whitehorse High School, not necessarily just at the front, but the base bid Whitehorse High School in general.
Great,
Mhm.
okay. And then the alternate would be the.
The alternate is
With
housing.
the housing,
Mhm.
okay.
And kind of the way I framed it to Steve is I don't necessarily have a recommendation one way or the other whether we should do housing, because that is a high sticker cost. But I would definitely be supportive if that's the route that the board went. It wouldn't sink us, it wouldn't tank us if we did go that route, so.
That was gonna be my next comment. Would we have to find out what the budget?
Yeah, sure,
What the
right.
budget for it is first before we, or is
Well,
that
and-
part of the capital,
And with the.
in line with the capital?
With the new entryways that we're doing, we already have had some xeriscaping done at those
Yeah.
buildings, so it's nice to be able to do that for other communities as well, not
Right.
just Blanding, and not just Monticello.
Mhm. So my recommendation at the very least would be to do the base bid, and then I would be open to both going with alternate one or not going with alternate one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, it is just after 4, so we'll go on to the director. So we will invite Anna Fredericks up to do her food service presentation. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love the invite. Is it really an invite? It's just planned?
Yeah. It's a lovely.
I'm happy to be able to come and talk to you a little bit about food service and what we've done this year. As you see on our first page of the slides, there's our highlights for the year, our total of meals, which was really close to last year. We were down a little bit at breakfast, a little bit at lunch, which usually can be counted in the number of students we lost for the year. 39 lunches over 12 schools is almost 3, a little bit more than 3 per school, so it's not a huge difference. And our reimbursements ended up almost equal to last year at this point. We were just $5,000 short of where we were, so our reimbursement came out really well. We added in our new regulations for breakfast with our milk, our cereal, and our yogurts. We rolled those out in all of our schools and met that federal requirement this year, so that was one of our highlights. Our challenge list is long, but I don't know, it's really that challenging. It's just stuff we have to do. Right now, our challenges, our biggest one is finding employees. At the end of the school year, we were short 3 managers. We lost 2 to other jobs, we lost 1 to retirement, and we have 5 open positions between Monticello and Blanding right now. 3 of those are managerial positions, which I was the manager for 2 schools for a hot minute at the end of the year, and I don't want to do it again for next year. So I'm hoping we get some applications for those. But filling those positions is right now our biggest challenge. We obviously are going to have our sodium regulations will change at the end of next school year. So over the course of the year, we'll look at those things because they won't change until school year 27-28. And then we also have a new regulation for added sugars in breakfast, limiting how many of our calories can come from added sugars. The biggest challenge that creates for us is in our second chance breakfasts, which are breakfast in a bag, because those are pre-made items that we're throwing in a bag for the students to take with them, which is really popular in our high schools. But those items put us over that added sugar limit. So we will have to make some changes there and find some things. We're hoping that this is, it's USDA regulations, which is nationwide. We're hoping that some of those companies roll out new formulas, reducing some sugar in some of those products. So that has happened in the past. So usually if we hold on a minute, we might see it happen. Goals for next year. Well, goals for right now is registering each of our kitchens. The Salmon Health Department has decided that schools need to apply for licenses. We've never done that before. It's not been required. It is now. It's about $250, I think, a school. It's not overwhelming. It does require me to take a class and a test for food managers, which we haven't been required to do in the past. So I'll have that done very shortly, hopefully next week. We'll work on our triennial wellness policy review. We were supposed to be on the 5-year administrative review with the state next school year, but we've been pushed back. We will not celebrate that. Yes, we will. That's a celebration. We were very happy to see that. Not that we weren't ready for it, but it is nice because it takes a lot of time and it is a little stressful for our kitchens. With three managers, it's nice that that happened. So we will not have to do that yet. We're going to look at our added sugars, look at our menu changes for all the rest of our regulations, and continue to work on our second chance breakfast program. Celebrations, obviously our fantastic staff. They completed the year with perfect scores in every kitchen on both of their health department inspections. So not a single deficiency. I think that might be the first time that I've seen that we haven't had a deficiency, which was awesome. Huge shout out to our principals, our paras, our office staff at Monticello Elementary and ARL. You heard Ryan talked about it, who really had to step up and help us out at the end of the year. We were short managers for a couple of months, at ARL, and almost a month at Monticello. So they really helped us out, and obviously our kitchen staff at both those schools. They worked really hard. We were shorthanded. They had to do more than they normally had done, and we really appreciated them. They really stepped up when we got through the end of the year with everyone's help. So that would be our celebrations for the year. Questions?
How do you advertise for kitchen managers? Just
Just the same way in the district, yeah.
What are your challenges in hiring people?
I mean, one of our challenges is just pay. I mean, we lost 2 of our people to higher paying jobs in the district and in the county. So pay, obviously, and lack of
It's not
benefits ends up being,
competitive.
ends up being a challenge. It's hard. It's a lot. It's on your feet all day. It's
Yeah.
hard work to work in the kitchens. So,
I guess that my question to go with Nance here is, do we have staff to step up into those manager positions and advertise?
none of the staff in any of those schools is interested.
Oh, darn it.
So no. That's the first question we ask when someone leaves, is if anyone else would like to be the manager. And we got a resounding no from all 3 schools, so.
Do we have any applications at the time?
I think we have 1 right now. I have 5 positions open. Because I have 3 managers and 2 regular staff at BES, so. We have really good staff in place. At San Juan is one we're looking for a manager for. We only have a 2-person kitchen there. So that one is a big challenge, because without an extra person, she's by herself. That's at ARL, if you have 3 people, you can somewhat manage. It is a challenge without a manager, because that makes me the manager for 3 schools.
Yeah.
But we do have good staff in place in all 3 of those schools, so we should be able to get someone up to speed quickly if we can find some managers.
Would you like us to incentivize to Principal Palmer if he wants to be a kitchen?
I offered it to him. I have asked him if he wants to come work for
I'm
us.
sure he's an expert by
I've
now.
offered it to multiple people at the district office even.
We'll see what we can do. Oh, wow. That's a lot of work. Thank you for your work on that.
Well, we are happy to serve the students of San Juan School District. I think that I can speak for all of our people that they really love their kids in their schools. We have some really great employees who really look for ways to improve what they're doing and to serve their student populations to the best of their ability. So I'm really grateful for all of our staff. They work really hard, and it is a hard job. When I have to go cover, I remember how hard it is to be in the kitchen all day long. It takes me a day or 2 to recover.
Have we done any research as to what the second chance breakfasts be, what the alternative with the sugars?
No, we just have to cut. Right now, we're putting in a muffin or a breakfast pastry of some sort because it's a prepackaged item, and we've dealt with trying to provide something that the principals aren't too stressed about, that's making not extra work for custodians.
Right.
So it's a prepackaged thing that's simple for the kids to take with them and eat and not make a giant mess with. And so those things just, I mean, they have added sugar in them. It's just a reality. So we are looking at products that have less added sugar in them, but we already have low added sugars in everything we buy for school. Which, like, when we look at our regular breakfast, I thought was going to be, I thought we'd be in trouble across the board, but we really weren't. Our regular breakfast, because we've already cut the sugars in our milk, in our yogurt, in our cereals, in all those things, that our added sugars are not excessive. It's just that second chance breakfast where we really see it a lot, just because of that main item we're throwing in there. And when you do it over 5 days of the week, that makes your average really high. So if we were only doing it 2 or 3 days, would be fine. So it's just a matter of finding 1 or 2 things we can make an adjustment with.
And would that be the best alternate is to offer only 2 days out of the week or 3 days out of the week?
We have to offer it 5 days a week. It's not, it's a state law. For second chance breakfast is a state law requirement, so.
Gotcha. Darn.
Is there a way that we could do an adjustment on the pay for the manager position?
It would be interesting to see the average pay, maybe
Yeah.
for our area.
We are looking at the budget today, but I know they've done a lot of work on that. We do appreciate all that you do, and I know how important these meals are, because we are feeding the majority of our youth in our communities a significant amount of the food that they get.
Yeah.
So I know that what you do is important, and I hope that we can support you in all that you need to do, whatever that looks like, so.
I guess another question would
Yeah.
be, do you have any solutions as to hiring? What, is there anything we could do? I mean, something we haven't,
Yeah, not currently. It's,
Nothing.
we put it out early. We hoped that if we put it out in June, we'd get lucky and get some people over the course of the summer. Obviously, we're always hoping that somebody's sending their last kid to school and decides they want to go to work for a few hours a day. I mean, on one hand, it's a really good job for somebody who doesn't want a full-time job and who doesn't want to work when their kids are at school, because we don't work when your kids are at school. We only work during the school day, and you're done by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day. So by the time your kids get out of school, you've had time to run your errands and do your stuff and still pick your kids up from school, which is great. We've had some employees that have to bring their kids with them to school in the morning, and we've adjusted their schedule where we can. Some of them bring their kids and they sit in the cafeteria and work on something while they wait for breakfast to start. We don't start significantly earlier than breakfast starts, so it's not a lot of time they have to wait. So that has worked out for us in the past. I mean, as far as a job that works with your kid's schedule, it's a great one. So we're hoping that we catch some of those folks.
so you saying that hopefully helps.
Hopefully, for all the people who are listening. It's
Right.
wonderful.
Say it louder in the-
You get to work with wonderful ladies, and they're a ton of fun, and the kids are awesome. And that's the best part, is when I get to go hang out in a school and visit with the kids, because they're a blast. Whenever I go to Monticello and see my little LaSalle kids, because I worked in LaSalle for almost a year when we couldn't find a manager there. And so we're best friends, me and those LaSalle kids. We're tight.
I would just add that it is troubling to me, your comment about nobody in the system is interested to step up. That makes me reflect on, again, to your comment, is there a need to look at that? Because generally, most of the things we have in our system are built on a hierarchy.
It's not
and moving
a
it.
giant pay increase to go from being a cook to a manager.
And it's a giant responsibility.
Yes, and it is a much more responsibility. And
So,
I don't think
I-
most of them think it's worth
It definitely spoke to
pay
me when you said that.
to
so.
do the extra
Yeah.
responsibilities, yes.
Okay, good to know.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful meeting.
Thank you.
All right, I think our next item is special education.
And he's joining us by Zoom.
Okay. All right. I know. We're just waiting for him to get on?
He's saying he's in and he's just waiting to be let in.
In the Bahamas? Where's he at?
Nice shoes. Yes. I just bought a belt that color. I need some shoes that color.
I guess, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, can you hear us?
we can hear you. Or we could. Are you still there?
I don't know if you can hear us. is the problem.
You can hear us wave. No, it's good.
Yeah, we lost you too.
All right, is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks for letting me present today. I do want to start by expressing my appreciation and gratitude to the superintendent and to the board for the opportunity to serve as the special director. Paul left some gigantic shoes to fill, and the learning curve is super steep. But I'm enjoying it and learning a lot, and I'm appreciating all that Paul has done, and trying to learn the ropes and fulfill all meet the students' needs first of all, and then support all of our staff that are supporting our students with learning disabilities. I'm not sure how this is going, if I'm supposed to share the screen and run slides, or if somebody's going to do that on that end.
They're already being shared.
They're being shared?
Yes.
Awesome. We can go to the second slide, I guess. We have our classification numbers by disability. These are a little bit higher than last year with autism. I apologize, now that I'm looking at this, I probably should have put the side-by-side comparison from last year. But we have quite a few speech and language impairment referrals coming in, and that number is quite a bit higher than last year as well. And then our other lower level with the specific learning disability would be our next one that's grown a little bit as well. And then if you want to go to slide 3, these are our numbers broken down by grade level. And usually as we get to the higher grade levels, they usually come down a little bit. We didn't see that too much with the senior class, I guess, and I'm sure you've all had a chance to look at these already in your board packets. Are there any questions thus far with this data?
I was going to ask, in your slide 2, do you have overlap in those, or are they're only listed by a specific category?
Yeah, each student is just classified with once. They some of those
Fit under
disability.
multiple.
A student may have more than one disability, but we just use one classification per student. And then they'll receive services for each of those
Okay.
disabilities that they may need help with.
All right, go ahead and continue. We'll ask
Awesome.
questions.
Let's go to slide number 4. I thought this was interesting. This is kind of what we do, right? We're helping kids graduate, and we had 26 students graduate this year who were on an IEP at the time of graduation or within a month. of graduating. Some of them exited just before graduation. And then we had 18 students that graduated who at some point had an IEP. That could have been, you know, their 7th and 8th grade, 9th grade year, or in elementary school, but 18 kids that graduated who had an IEP along the way. And then we had 5 students who received a certificate of completion. And some of these students may return and continue on. Special ed students can receive services until their 22nd birthday. And so they may be returning.
Okay.
All right, next slide, 5. One of the departments that I help support is our school nurses. And we have some data here from our health office visits. We're a little bit down from last year, but I probably didn't do as good a job as Paul this year, reminding our secretaries to continue to record. They have a tally sheet and they record a lot of this data, and that helps us to keep track of our numbers. And we had to remind them a couple of times when we had a couple of months where we weren't getting data, so we had to remind secretaries to do that. And that's something that I'll have to do better at next year, and reminding our secretaries and our schools to keep track of their data, which it's hard. I know secretaries have tons going on all day long. I do think that one good thing, we sent home less students than last year. That could be because of missed record keeping, but if we're sending less kids home, that's always a good thing. We're keeping kids in class and learning. We have a couple of more 911 calls, and then we have our elementary and secondary numbers there. And then our students that we're seeing the nurse, which is a little bit different, because if we were missing record keeping, but our numbers almost doubled in that. So our nurses are busy. They're staying busy. We do have 108 students who are on a healthcare plan. This means that they have a daily routine where they have to maintain medication schedules and very specific things related to their health. It could be diabetes and monitoring their glucose levels and other medications. We have some students with some significant behavioral challenges that might be on meds, and those medications have to be followed pretty closely. Because they help that student with their behavior so they can be successful in school. And then B, also the medical professionals that are working with these kids as well also we have to have a consistent cycle of that medication for it to be effective, and then also to know to adjust it if it's not working the way we're hoping it to. So there's a lot going on there with our school nurses, and then when they're not, and they can only be in the buildings so often, so we rely on those secretaries a lot to help with this. Any questions there?
You can just keep going.
I'm sorry?
Just keep going with your presentation. We'll ask questions after.
Okay, let's go to, slide number 6, challenges. We did have a student with needs that were really exceeded our capability, but we were able to bring in, partner with a behavior therapist with Utah State University, and she was able to come in and help support with this student and provide some professional development and help show our staff what that looked like in practice. That was a huge plus. And also tribute to our staff, especially our special ed department at Blading Elementary, who worked with this student. They did a great job, and it was really something that was probably beyond what we could do in public schools in general. The student was presented some significant challenges. Other challenges is achievement of our students with disabilities on end of level testing. We're still not seeing the growth that we need to see, and we're continuing to work on that. We need to work on exiting our students from special education. We want to see them move and grow and continue on and become just part of the general population of students without an IEP. As I presented earlier in that graduation statistic, those 18, we like to see that number grow. So we want to see them get the help they need, but we also want to put them on a path to success and be able to learn and grow at the same rate as their peers without an IEP. And the new department leadership, myself, this has been, I'm still learning and learning a lot. And as I said, the learning curve is steep, but I do have wonderful, amazing staff to help with that. Paul's been great to help. We have people at the state level I'm able to lean on as well. It's good to have a lot of collaboration and a lot of support in our department. And I'll speak to some more of those celebrations in a minute. And then some of our challenges also is tracking our data. And that's our attendance data, our just learning all of the graduation codes and exit codes and things that pertain to special ed. Sometimes that's kind of tricky to find. We're working on that, and things are getting better that way. But those are some of the challenges that we've had in our department. The next slide, 7. These are some of our goals and a lot of some of these are the same as last year. We didn't meet them, so we want to continue with these and see the increase in our end of level rise and Utah Aspire Plus testing for both language arts and math. And we'd like to improve our professional learning. We're going to continue our partnership with Utah State and have them with us as much as we can to help support behaviors and writing effective goals within our IEPs. In our compliance, we plan on doing 2 internal file reviews. This will help us to make sure that we're maintaining compliance, and we'll continue with our PD in using AI to help us write clear present level learning documents as well as IEPs. And we've had some great help here with the Southeastern Education Center and Jolene Torgerson. We did have a PD session with her already, and some of our teachers were super excited coming away from that. We had one of our teachers realize that some of their goals may not have aligned exactly with what they needed to, so he was excited to go back and work on that and use AI to help with that. And last slide here, with our celebrations, again, we have resilient staff, especially those that are working with difficult behavior in students. The implementation of a special education coach for teacher support has been huge. Katie Lynn Lyman was hired to fill that spot, and she's been amazing. She's able to provide the support teachers need. It's just, we can't get her around fast enough, I guess. But she's doing a great job. It's awesome to have her expertise and experience and knowledge to lean on as well. And the teamwork that we're able to put together is great. I feel like another celebration is our knowledgeable veteran staff. We have Vernon, who's been in ed psych for a lot of years. We do have some school nurses who've been around for a while. Speech pathologists have been around for a while. Our OT and PT folks have been around for a while, so we've got a lot of good, knowledgeable staff that are helping with that department and really care about the kids and their growth. One celebration I will have, we did 2 internal file reviews with coaching and support this year. We were able to do that twice at each school and checked all of the files. And we're working to build that supportive relationship with the special ed teachers, help them to know we're there to support them. And those file reviews aren't a gotcha. They're really just to help them learn the process more and to make sure that we're all in compliance. We've been able to, along the same lines, we're able to increase collaboration between our special ed and gen ed teachers. This is a work in progress. And the schools that we're able to see that happen in we're seeing the kids grow at faster rates. Our gen ed teachers are really the content specialists, and our kids need to be around those teachers as much as possible with our support so they can learn the content. And then we know that's going to help them do better on end of level testing. Again, we have our targeted school support with our partnership from Utah State, and they're providing training and staff for addressing behavior needs and challenges. And the teamwork and collaboration with success of the students as the focus, I think, is a huge plus and celebration, because our focus is to help teachers and our students grow, and that's really what we're about. And then also I wanted to add, I didn't put it on here, but I've been in the district for office for a few years, and it's really the environment there is really it's different than it's been in the past, in my opinion, I guess, and a lot of teamwork, a lot of open collaboration, and a lot of support. Sometimes that means a lot of meetings, but that's okay, because we're able to collaborate and talk and discuss things that need to be discussed, and the level of transparency is increased, and none of us has all the answers, but collectively I feel like we're really strong and able to find solutions and keep working towards those goals of student achievement and making our schools safe and better.
All right, we're going to start with the questions now,
President,
but
would you
I'll let-
mind if I just added a
Yeah,
couple
go
comments
for it.
to Spencer's presentation? We appreciate him taking on this role and the collaboration that we've been able to do with him. We meet pretty much weekly with the SPED leadership and with Paul and myself, and they are doing some really great work. So I wanted to highlight a couple of those just so that you're aware of them. One of that is a co-teaching model at Whitehorse High School, where the special ed teacher is pushing in with the general ed teacher as well, and we've seen really great success, including that Whitehorse High School was one of very few schools that got out of school improvement for students with disabilities. So I think that's a huge celebration that needs to be part of this. The other is what we're calling active monitoring, and we've been working on that in a number of our schools, where the parent, instead of pulling out and just working one-on-one or with just two students, they have a Google form that they're using, that they go in and know what the goals are for the students. So they're pushing into the regular classroom, seeing the goals right in front of them, and collecting data and supporting that student and putting those notes in immediately. So we've been using that model, and we're seeing a lot of success. Pairs only have so much time, so doing it in that model allows us to, I think, leverage their strengths and keeps the student in the general ed classroom, like Spencer was talking about as well. And then the third thing that I'd like to celebrate is we do have our annual performance determination meeting based upon our achievement outcomes for students with disabilities. But in working with the state, we requested that they come to us because it's so costly to bring our team there. We've been working with them also with developing our MTSS system and our school improvement system. So the state has combined the special ed department trainers and leaders with the school improvement leaders to come down and hold that meeting here in San Juan. And so they'll travel down instead of us bringing the teams. And then we've been able to expand that because we have 6 schools that are in improvement for students with disabilities. So they said we are more than welcome to invite all of our principals and anyone on the leadership team working on those school improvement plans to come. So we'll be able to have that meeting next week, which I'm super excited. We spent a lot of money last year to take everyone to the meeting in St. George, and we're like, this is really ridiculous. So we appreciate Spencer's efforts in making that come here, and the state, the USBE as well, and being able to expand that to really, because when we talk about improving for students with disabilities, it shouldn't be a siloed area. It should be, how are we improving students with disabilities as a school improvement effort versus a SPED department just effort. SPED department's there to support the school success. So we're excited that that's happening as well. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of those things that are happening, because I think when we consider this area, this is an area we really are focusing on for improvements across the district.
Thank you. I would like to also note that the collaboration between special ed and general ed teachers, the emphasis on that cannot be emphasized enough, because those students need to feel included, not just showing up to school and just, going to their separate spaces or whatever, where they can actually learn to work on the general ed things that they're supposed to be learning. One of the things that we didn't talk about today, Spencer, are you still working on this social worker? Is that still one of his roles, or, and are you still figuring out how that fits in, or just got a
Yeah,
just wondering how that's looking?
Yeah, we still have quarterly meetings with our social workers and ask those questions and just try to have that face-to-face time. It's usually a Google Meet where they can kind of talk and share ideas and check in. This past year, they've spent a lot more time working directly with their building principals and being able to kind of follow the direction of those principals. And so we've it's been a little bit of a shift. So we've kind of been just kind of, I guess, figuring out how to calibrate that and to best support them in that process. But yeah, we're still involved there and helping them to be supported and checking in with them on the things they need.
Well, I do like the idea of the individual schools being able to determine how their social workers are best utilized. So I appreciate your leadership in that. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Oh, I would point out also that we sometimes, we only have 2 educational psychologists, and sometimes the student's IEP will call for some of that counseling, and our school social workers that have their credential are able to help provide some of that, and that's been super helpful in supporting our educational psychologists in meeting those IEP needs of those students. So that does continue to be a strength, and being able to lean on that as well.
That's good to know. Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a question / comment. Because you're overseeing different roles and not necessarily just to SPED, like with the social work, if we can have that in your presentation, for me, I would like to know and see where some of the difficulties are, where we can make improvements on, and also the celebrations too, and goals with those. That would be nice to see as well. And then with the point that Dr. Fitzgerald brought up, I gotta get used to that. With Whitehorse, is that something we can model with the other schools? Well, because it's such a great improvement there. Is that something, because Whitehorse would be the piloted one, that we can also collaborate with other schools and get those going too? Is that something that we could do in the future?
I believe it is, yes, absolutely. And yeah, I would be more than happy to do a presentation on social workers if that's what the board would like to hear.
Great, thank you.
One of the things that we were just barely talking about with what was it? Meal services.
Right.
She's having a hard time finding kitchen managers, and I think special ed is also having some hiring issues. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, special ed is a tough hire, and they're in a high need around the state.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we do still have a couple of openings left to fill in our district.
Actually, I think we're fully staffed, Spencer. That's the great
yeah.
news on that.
Oh, there's another
Woohoo!
celebration.
Celebrate
We're out
that.
the office a couple of days. It's hard to
As
stay
of
caught up.
today, you were we're not here, so you didn't get the update.
Okay.
Yay.
Good.
All right, well, thank you. Appreciate you being here, and we're sorry we couldn't see you in person, but I think that's
Yeah,
all.
no, I apologize for not being there. I had scheduled this before I knew that I was presenting, and I apologize for not knowing that. I should have known. But thank you for the opportunity to present virtually.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to our next item on the agenda, which is back to Jacob.
Yes, all right, let's talk floor coverings now. Okay, so this was also something that we talked about at the same board meeting where Principal Schaefer and Principal At City came and gave their presentations. But this is something that's been kind of in the works for a little bit, but we're wanting to replace the floor coverings at Montezuma Creek Elementary School. You might have noticed with our last bid that we only had one person. Steve searched far and wide for bidders. On the last one, we only had one person that was able to submit a bid. This one we did have two, so a little bit of competitiveness here, so that's something to celebrate. So our recommendation here is quite simple, just to move forward with the bid that is shown here. There's no alternate bid. It's just a bid to replace all the floor coverings at Montezuma Creek Elementary School. And we're going to recommend that you go with the lowest bid here, which is Creative Floors, for that amount that you see right there. This would just be a huge improvement for the interior of the building there at Montezuma Creek Elementary School. Now that we've done the vestibule project there, the new vestibule, the new admin area, as well as the new office areas that we added to the building there, all have very beautiful brand new carpet, and I think it's overdue to do new flooring throughout the school there as well. It's going to look fantastic. You know, one thing to keep in mind is there's possible asbestos abatement that comes with that. You know, the year that the school was built, it kind of puts us right on that line, and so that could potentially inflate the price a little bit more. But even with that, we would still recommend moving forward. The floor's got to be replaced at some point in time, and asbestos abatement isn't going to be any cheaper in 10 years than it is now. So that's our recommendation.
What kind of flooring are they doing?
Just all throughout the school, so mostly carpeting. You know, as you go through the corridors and stuff there, there's just outdated carpeting that needs updated.
That was going to be my question also.
Okay.
Would the maintenance be the same as opposed to if they went to?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak too much for the maintenance crew, but I would imagine in a lot of ways it'd be a little bit easier. There's a little bit less maintenance that comes with a newer product than with a dated product. So
I meant to clarify. I should clarify.
Oh, sure.
Whether they want to keep it carpet or what would it be?
Like
tile
LVT or
versus tile
LVT?
at the elementary.
Yeah, I think that this one is for carpet. I think that was Steve's recommendation, and that's probably mine. The vestibule area is all carpeted, as well as the new office area. So it's a little bit of continuity, I think, there. But
So it would be the hallways and the classrooms.
correct.
It wouldn't be the cafeteria or.
No, nothing new with the
Okay.
nothing new there. But
If you want carpet.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
I just mean the flooring in general.
Sure.
Just making sure that
Yep.
we knew what we were doing. Okay. Any other questions, comments related to that? Okay, let's go on to the new Blanding Elementary School update.
All right, so today's update is particularly fun because you might notice that this is the first one that does not include a progress report, and that's not because progress hasn't been made, but it's because the last progress report that we showed a substantially completed building. So that's really exciting. There's just little ends and pieces that they're doing now. They're finishing some of the display cases throughout the school, obviously keeping the building really clean. The same date that we had our last board meeting, the school was turned over to us. We did have our substantial completion then. But honestly, the biggest thing that we wanted with today's agenda item is to talk about a date for ribbon cutting and an open house. I know that we talked about this last board meeting, but I believe President Barton is going to be gone on the date that we had discussed previously. And with the school being in the area of her constituents, we did want to prioritize her being able to attend that. We have recommendations, but we obviously want the board's input on it. We talked at length last time about trying to avoid the week of the fair. But with that being said, well, I'll just go through all of this. So right now, Blanding Elementary, the admin there is planning on having kind of a parent and student walkthrough date of August 11th. Students would be able to go, walk to their classrooms, know where they're at in the building. And so this will be a large part of the community. Yeah, go ahead.
And I would just add, they're planning on doing a fun scavenger hunt activity for any of the
Right.
students that come with their parents, so they'd get to know the building because it's so much larger than the other buildings. So and where we have a new principal, new assistant principal, they're really excited about getting to meet the students on the 11th. So while parents and students would still be invited to the ribbon cutting if they wanted to attend, this is the whole day is especially set aside for them to come to the building.
Right. August 11th wouldn't be like an open to everybody in the community necessarily, but for those students that are going to be enrolled there. And so our proposal then would be we have our next board meeting scheduled for August 4th. So we wanted to float around the idea of having August 4th be the same day that we do the ribbon cutting, and maybe a smaller scaled kind of a ceremony and walkthrough for the community earlier on in the day. That way, you know, maybe the board won't all be there for August 4th, but I think it's a pretty good shot with us having board meetings scheduled for that date. And so that's that we understand that that's also a day that they're having the fair, but, you know, with our August 11th date and the fact that it's going to be a little bit more casual, and it's not an all-day activity, you know, even the people that want to attend the fair would still have the opportunity to attend the fair and attend the ribbon cutting and the ceremony. But we obviously wanted to bring that to the board. Alternatively, we could always try to pick a date a little bit earlier in July. You know, working with everyone's schedules is obviously a restraint in that, but we are open to ideas, and whatever ultimately the board thinks is best, we will move forward with.
All right, let's discuss. What do you guys think of having the open house on the 4th, which is the same?
Remind me when school starts again,
The
August?
17th,
Okay,
I think, is the first day.
okay.
You're thinking that the open house would be a 2 or 3 hour thing?
Yeah, we probably, you know, if I was to just throw out times right now, we'd probably do the ribbon cutting maybe 10 or 11, and then have the open house be thereafter. And then obviously board meeting would start that day at 3 p.m.
I mean, we can also herd some people over here to the board meeting as well. I mean, hey, you want to experience a live and depth
Live
board
board
meeting?
meeting
Yeah. I mean,
You got opinions about the school?
It's
Yeah.
pretty
See what we're
exciting
doing.
stuff.
yeah. To it would coincide with everything else that's going
For sure.
on. So we're so much fun too. So.
Oh, yeah. Great.
It's riveting.
Serve treats? No, okay. I mean, I don't have an issue with changing it to
I think
4.
it's a good idea to just have it all together in one day. That way we don't have to schedule another
Yeah, and I
day.
do want to be there. So even though I
Yeah.
lied about being able to do it the last week of July, if we could do it that week, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm good with August 4th.
Well, and I think it gives the parents a chance too, as well. I mean, that's going to be a busy week getting ready for school if it's on the 17th. I'm sure coming back from their summer vacation as well, and we're going to add an open house on top of that. I mean,
For sure.
Yeah.
that would be what I would consider anyways. And I'd like Nan to be there as well too.
I do
For
want
sure,
to be
yeah.
there. Yeah. And they are still working on some things. We keep watching or waiting for the progress on that retaining pond.
Oh, sure.
Going, are they doing it? Are they not doing it? What are they doing?
Is it for the retention pond?
Yeah.
Which part of that? Sorry.
We're waiting for that to get done. Everything else is
Oh,
mostly
sure.
done, and then it's like,
Yeah, the retention pond at this stage is pretty well completed too. We're gonna hold off on hydro seeding until
Okay.
September or October, just so the seed doesn't.
just looked like, because they have machines out there, but they're not, like, are they doing something? Are they not doing something?
Yeah, right. So at this stage, they've already have the boulders in there, and they've laid on the dirt on top of those boulders, and so I believe the only thing left to do is hydro seed. But that's all being done in-house. That's not being done by Westland, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And the playground is completed, I assume?
I
or-
believe the basketball hoops
Basketball.
were put up just this last week, so
Great.
I think everything, there's a couple of other things that are possibly in the works for the playground, but those are all positive things that we're just still working with a couple of members of the community on. You know, I don't know that I want to give a report on that until we know for sure what's going to happen, but if anybody wants to, you know, you can obviously ask me or superintendent afterward what some of those might be,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I just passed a couple kids making plans for playing in the playground today.
It's gonna be an
Past my
exciting one.
house, so
That's all right.
It's already
That's awesome.
Seen a lot of good things.
neighborhood hangout, so.
A lot of good comments on Facebook too about it. So,
Good,
yeah.
okay, that's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
You know, the crew did an excellent job. You know, it's, I talked with the architects just today, and they said, I don't know that we've had a project in 20 years that's gone as smoothly as the Blanding Elementary project, and it's almost unheard of for these sorts of projects at this scale to be ahead of schedule or even on schedule. So the fact that I think our substantial completion was scheduled for June 1st, and we had it on May 12th. So that speaks volumes to the work that the crew did here, and the largely local subcontractors that were a big part of that too. So, you know, it's really exciting to see the work that they all did.
Okay.
Which proved it was meant to be.
Yeah,
They were
thank
long
you.
overdue as well.
And with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the capital follow-up stuff.
All right, so let's talk about vestibule projects here. You'll notice that we have the pictures for the two. If you wouldn't mind pulling up the pictures on there, Jacob, that are for Monticello High School. We'll start with Monticello High School here. I'll wait for those to get pulled up here on the main screen. Perfect. So I tried to keep these in as good order as I possibly could here. As you can see throughout all of these pictures, though, there's been a lot of progress in the last month. They're going heavy with the demolition process in the main entrance of the building, in the admin area and reception areas, the media center, home economics room, and in the classroom that's being remodeled into a bathroom. So the first three pictures that you see here, these are of the media center. So you can see that the flooring is out there. They're updating the flooring in there. The fourth and the fifth picture, moving on from that, this is in what's currently the admin area. This is currently the principal's office. This will become part of the vestibule and reception area in the new vestibule after the new build. Picture 6 and 7, moving on from there, this is a couple of the pictures of the main entryway. You can see the carpeting is removed there. There's going to be some LVT flooring installed there. Pictures 8 through 11, moving on to the next three here. This is where the reception office and office spaces are, and the conference room are currently located. And this is where some of the new offices, and they're going to do some updates to the conference room here too, but that's where all these are located. We did have some asbestos abatement stuff. That's why the carpet is still there that you see in the admin area. There's going to be some asbestos abatement things that are going to be happening throughout there, but that should happen in the next couple of weeks here as well. Then going to picture 12. Yep, this one. This is a picture of the workspace. That's currently the teacher's workspace. Half of this is going to be remodeled, I believe, into the conference room. And then the other half will still be the teacher workspace back there. Go on to the next picture. This is another picture of the entryway from the opposite angle, just looking at the entrances there. The next two pictures are just off the main entryway. This is leading into the home economics room. So you'll notice there used to be a bench there that was built in with the same tile, the same work that was there. One of the thoughts that we had is, you know, Monticello's colors and the colors that throughout the school were a little bit clashing with the colors of the tile back there. And so if you go back to that picture, Jacob, sorry. So we're going to have some soft seating there instead, and we're going to update the tile coloring there, and they're just going to redo that whole space. So that's pretty exciting. And then next picture, one more after that. The next few pictures that you'll see here, this is inside the home economics room. On the left, you'll see some framing that's put up there. That's where the new storage space is going to be in the home economics room. If you remember, at the front of the building, I think we'll be on the next picture here. Yeah, the front of the building on the left-hand side, that's going to be the back end of where the concession stand is going to be. This is across from the gymnasium. And so, you know, as you can see, they're moving along pretty quickly. I think there's just one picture left here. And this is where this used to be a classroom space. This is where they're remodeling, also across from the gym. This is where they're doing the remodel into the bathroom. So the speed is moving along quickly. We're hoping that we can have, if not the entirety, the bulk of both of these projects done before the start of school. I believe the substantial completion date for Monticello High School is July 28th. I'll have to double check, but I believe it's July 28th. And the substantial completion date for ARL is August 28th. So let's move on to the pictures here at Albert R. Lyman.
I just wanted to make a comment. I have
Yeah, of
heard
course.
from several people they are excited about those bathrooms.
It's, you know,
So-
it's going to
Yeah.
be,
So
rather
we did-
than.
I'm just letting you guys know, you voted right.
That's right, you know, it'll be nice to not have people have to walk all the way through the school to
Yeah.
find a bathroom during community events that are happening in the gym or sporting events, so I'm glad to hear that the community is supportive of that too. All right, moving on to Albert R. Lyman here. So in the first 4 or so pictures here, you'll see the progress on the south end of the building. If you recall, this is where the new front of the building will be after the vestibule is installed. They're also installing, you can see kind of the workings of where they're going to be installing a roundabout and parking there at the front of the, what will become the front of the building. Right now it's the side of the building, but it will be the new front of the building. And then after you get through the pictures on the front here, I think one more, yep. So this is a picture of where the 2 classroom additions are going to be in the back of the building. So another thing to recall is that the new vestibule at Albert R. Lyman is being built into where there are currently 2 classrooms located. And so to kind of compensate for the loss of those 2 classrooms, part of the project in one of the alternate bids that the board voted on was to build in these 2 classrooms to replace the ones that are going to be lost from the build. And then the last several pictures that you'll see, this is still the classroom area here, but the last several, this is just pictures from across the street, again, of the front of the building. So if you just scroll through all of those, you can see some of those. And these were taken on June 11th, and even since then, there's been a lot of progress that's happened with both MHS and with ARL. So yeah, I'm really excited about the progress of these projects. Any questions on either Albert R. Lyman Middle School or Monticello High School?
I was just gonna say, I noticed that there was a huge amount of excavation at the, along 500 West across from the football field. Was there something that they had to?
You know, I wish we had Steve here. I know that they're doing a lot of leveling, so where.
It will be parking,
Mhm.
but and it'll be lower than the building, I guess? I mean, I was just
So-
curious why they,
So that's on that last picture you can see right there. They're doing storm draining too. So instead of, like at the Blanding Elementary School, they're doing a retention pond for our water retention. Because we're doing this project here and because we're getting rid of a lot of the green in front of there, we had to have something there to just per code. And I could be butchering this, but we had to have something like a retention pond, and so they're doing what's called storm tech, and so that's what's going to be built underneath the parking lot right there. That's why they had to have it so low, is because they installed. If you go there right now, you'll see a bunch of little yellow tubing that goes across there, and that's called the storm tech. And so when the water drains into that area, rather than having it be retained as a retention pond, it's retained underground in those little storm tech devices. So,
okay. Thank you.
yep, of course.
Any other questions or comments?
Trying to think of one.
No worries, no worries.
You didn't have a completion date for that one yet?
I believe the substantial completion is August 28th.
Oh, okay.
In that range. And that's the substantial completion of the entirety of the project. And so that's understandably a few days after the start of school. It's possible, and I don't want to have this go on public record and me be wrong, but it's possible they'll have occupancy of the classrooms before that date. But I'm not sure. But for the totality of the project, that is when the substantial completion date is scheduled, I believe. And that's something I could look up really quickly too and comment a little bit later on if I'm wrong. So,
I do have a question.
Yeah, of course.
Will the landscape be the same as Blanding, the xeriscaping? Xeriscaping
yes.
as well?
So on the east side of the building, there's currently grass right there. There will be xeriscaping installed there. Most of the front of the building, there will be some xeriscaping here and there. But if you recall what the front of Blanding Elementary looks like, there's largely going to be parking and a very, very large roundabout right there. So a little bit lower scale xeriscaping in that area, but yeah, there will be some there. And then rather than doing new sod on the side of the build, what will become the side of the building, the current front of the building, they're going to be doing xeriscaping there. So, great question.
Anything else? Okay, the next item is me, board training. And I just want to encourage all of you that have your computers to go to USBA .cc. They've got conferences and trainings, you know, but I wanted you to look at legislation. And let's just look at the JLC tracking sheet. Obviously, currently, they're not in the legislative session. I just wanted to encourage everybody just to kind of be aware. Has everybody been able to get that? And just look at March 2nd, 2026, and it just creates a download. A Microsoft a Word document that you can look at.
March, you want us to look at March 2nd?
Yeah. And I'm just looking at the web version because I don't currently have Microsoft set up on my computer for some reason. But it just talks about, yeah, current. And again, this was a couple months ago. These are all bills that are related to education in some way, and yes, there's a lot of them. And then we've got kind of our opinions from the Joint Legislative Committee, which is the boards, the district leadership. You know, we all kind of get together and we say, this is important to us. We don't agree with this, so you see where it says oppose. No position. When Jacob and Lucille and I went to the Day on the Hill, we were able to watch them in action, you know, talking. Were you there too? I don't remember. Yeah, anyway, we were able to watch them in action. And one of the things that Colleen and I did when we were at Civics Day is we told those students, you know, one of the things that we do as board members is advocate for you as students, for you as citizens. Even though we're not these elected representatives, we have, or should have, a relationship with these legislators, and we should be telling them where we stand, especially related to education. And so, again, this is past, but it's just good to be aware of what has gone on in the future, what in the past, what will be going on in the future. And on June 5th and 6th, were those the days that I was up there? I attended the joint legislative, the delegate assembly and pre-delegate assembly. And the pre-delegate assembly was actually really productive because we were able to visit with some members of the Education Appropriation Committee. And so we were able to say, hey, we like the way you're doing this, but can you please maybe not focus so much on this? And if you're going to say that we need to do this, give us some money for it, you know? So it was just good to be with other board members, other district leaders, and just to talk about the things that we advocate in education. And so this is just me encouraging all of you to be aware of where the Joint Legislative Committee stands, and where we align with where they stand, and where we can do more to advocate for what we need as a state education community, but also for our own. So that was my little training, I guess. And then just a little note that to remind you guys, we'll be doing the policy work next month. But another thing that's coming up is board docs. We're going to be using different software, and so we'll be doing training related to that as well. So just keep that on your radar. That's something that we get to,
We won't be using board docs anymore?
It's Diligent Company, but they're moving to a new platform, so we have some adjustments, which should be better for us.
yeah. I'm just putting that on your radar. I know it's coming, so just be ready, because we're always learning and again, advocating, so anything we can do to be aware. Any questions or comments related to that?
A comment just to piggyback on what you're saying, also to let the public know, I mean, you can go to Utah School Board Association website and look these over too, and hold us as board members accountable. It shows the pre-delegate and the delegate agendas for those days that Board President Barton attended, as well as the JLC tracking sheet. Those you can cross-reference to the state's website as well, and you can check those House bills, or it's a lot that goes into it, but if you have time and you're curious as well and you wanted to double check on that, that would be you as a citizen reaching out to your representative, and Logan Munson is our representative. So even reaching out to him and encouraging him, email, texting, calling, I know he does that as well, and saying, hey, education bill, blah, 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 comes up. We will need you to help our school board and our school district support this, or the USBA or USBE as well. So not just our voices are heard, you as the parent, as the students as well, can also encourage this. So there's so much more that we can do to help support us as well as our representatives. So just wanted to comment that as well.
Thank you. Okay. I guess at this time, we're gonna adjourn for our dinner break.
Do we want to do any closed session items before break or after?
We have closed session.
We do have some closed session related to personnel.
Might as well hit it.
We can, yeah, if you're okay with that.
Let's do it now.
I'm okay.
Okay. Sorry,
Even
thank
you.
you. Thank you, Ron, for reminding us of that. And so we won't just automatically, do you want to do that after or before?
Do which after? Closed?
Closed?
I'm fine with whatever the board wants.
All right, so what do we want to do? Do we want to do it now? Because if we do, we need to. Okay.
Right now.
All right, so I will just need a motion to go into closed related to personnel.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session regarding personnel.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Ron Nelson, yes.
Lucille Cody, yes.
Colleen Benally, yes?
Nan Barton, yes.
Don Lowe's, yes.
Okay, sorry, we'll see you guys after closed session. If you want to eat without us, that's okay too.
How about that?
Take your picture. Lovely. So do you. Thank you. All right, this is the San Juan Sweet Job Award to Danelle Shumway, our occupational therapist. And occupational therapists are the quiet architects of independence. I've never been held quiet in my life. Dedicating their expertise to helping individuals reclaim the rhythm and joy of daily life. With a profound blend of clinical knowledge, empathy, and creativity, they meet people at their most vulnerable moments and guide them towards strength and self-reliance. Danelle has helped many students at San Juan School District develop vital school skills and their individual autonomy. She is able to see beyond limitations to see pure potential. She has helped many students restore the ability to participate in the meaningful activities that define who we are. She is a fully committed team player who is passionate about helping her students improve their quality of life and learning. She literally works in every building in our district and puts in tons of miles each week. We are lucky to have Danelle on our team. More importantly, the students she serves receive the highest quality of service from someone who genuinely cares about them, and that was from Spencer Singer. So, thank you, and I've heard lots of good things about you, and lots of wonderful people. So good job. I do love that job. Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations. Very well deserved.
Good job.
She was really happy around her. Not just the students. We all enjoyed this for fun.
So this is for budget, but this is for regular public comment, so we'll go ahead and, I'm supposed to read a little thing about public comment that I forget, because we don't always have public comments. So, just gonna read this little thing that says, the purpose of the San Juan School District Board of Education meeting is for the board to conduct its business in public as provided by law. The San Juan School District Board of Education values and welcomes public comment, so time is allotted in our public meetings for such. However, to maximize its benefit, there must be structure and consistency to the practice. With that in mind, please know that public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school operations and programs, but complaints about school personnel or other persons will not be allowed. Individuals expressing comments should not expect an immediate response from the board. Please understand that the public comment period is not a debate, an interactive question and answer session, or a dispute resolution forum, but it is an opportunity for you to express your comments, suggestions, and concerns to the board for our information and consideration. A member of the district staff will respond to patrons who request a follow-up meeting or information. And at this time, I would just like to recognize LT Erickson. Thank you.
I do this very often.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take a minute and thank President Barton and Vice President Benally, members of the board, Superintendent Fitzgerald, and Mr. Swanson, Esquire. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to work for the school district this year. I'm completing my 29th year in education, and this is without a doubt the best job I've ever had. And it's really because of the people. And it's an amazing district because it is enormous in size and area, and there's a lot going on in the district. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity to work with Dr. Fitzgerald and the assistant superintendents, McGay and Murdoch, and all of the district office staff. Having worked in a district office for 17 years or 60, something like that, a long time. This is the most collaborative, helpful, collegial, friendly team I've ever worked with. It is unique, and it's not everywhere. And just, I've been so impressed with just the dynamics of the district office leadership team and how supportive and just amazing. And especially impressed with Superintendent Fitzgerald, and I don't know how she does it. She is always running somewhere and doing, but she's able to keep on top of everything and just does an amazing job leading the district. And one of the things I would say I've been impressed with the emphasis and importance placed on the equity for, not equality, where everybody gets the same thing, but they get what they need for our Native American students and other students in need. And so I just want to thank you. It's been an amazing experience. And the reason I tell people that the reason we're moving is it's not for a job promotion, or we have a disabled son in Idaho, and we've been driving back and forth to help him, and it's just not been enough. So we weren't able to get services for him here in Utah, and so we've got to move back closer to him, and we'll be about 45, 50 minutes away from him, which is better than 9 hours. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been wonderful, and I made it through without crying, so I'm amazed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next thing is the budget hearing, but that doesn't start until 6 6:15, so if we want to look at the consent agenda, we could do that really quick. Is there any discussion related to the consent agenda before we move to approve it? There is one thing on there that's a little bit different than what we usually have.
Exchange student.
So if you've looked through that, that's just for
I think we need to
information.
make a motion, and then we can have a discussion about anything on the.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I'll beat you.
Okay, Colleen got it that time. Okay, all in favor?
Well, I think we have to
Oh,
listen to
yeah, now
discussion.
we can have the discussion, sorry.
So tell us a little more about the exchange student. That is a little different, something we haven't had in the last few years.
Yeah, so it's been quite a few years since we've had anyone request. So we're following our policy, which you'll see in July. We have some updates recommended for our policy. But with this, we had let the state know we weren't going to use the funding allocated because we haven't had exchange students. But I was able to reach out to the state, and they were able to set aside funding for this exchange student. So we do have the funding to make this possible. So our recommendation is to move forward to allow this exchange student for the upcoming year. And that's the only funding we'll have for this year is for the one. So there wouldn't be any additional students requested. And then we'll revisit that policy and get it better aligned and bring that to the board in August so we can make changes for the future as needed. We do feel like there are probably some changes in policy to get it updated, not only to code, but just of how we do things. The timeline in the policy is making this a little difficult because the timeline was June 30th, but really the state funding has been moved up significantly, and when we have to let them know if we want funding, so.
And he will attend San Juan High?
That was gonna be my question too, whether he was gonna have to have tuition costs on his end, or if we can.
The state
give
has
something.
the allocation for exchange students, and you only get what they allocate you. So that's why it was really imperative for us. We couldn't bring this to you in May because we needed to ensure that the state was gonna allow us to have that funding. Because we had already let them know we gave the funding back for other districts to use, but they, in contacting them, working with them, they were able to give us one student funding source. So it funded the same as we would a WPU, so.
And that wouldn't be an action item, or would that be?
No, it's
It is considered,
Part of the
everything on the
consent
consent
agenda.
agenda is action.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you wanted to approve the consent agenda and not approve the exchange student, that is
You could
the
make it,
board.
yeah.
Board has that discretion.
And then there's also several activity reports and 150-mile forums, because we are a San Juan School District and we travel very far and we always have to approve those, so just pointing those out again. It's just,
Yes, and usually June is when we have our fall.
yep.
Raise my hand now. I did have a question
Yeah,
on
it's
that.
okay.
And I apologize, I am not picking on San Juan. It's just the one that showed up, and I had a question too, is if we could, I just saw on Monument Valley, they had individual 150 plans for each sport
Yep.
and each gender. If San Juan could do the same, I'd appreciate it. It just makes it easier for me to see, and or as well as to follow up on, and making sure that they get approved. Or is it okay that the way that they did it is acceptable?
I think some of the ones that are on here do not have to be on here according to policy, so we probably need to revisit that with them.
Okay.
Because this, yeah, we probably need to work with our AD. The reason probably you're seeing so many on San Juan High is that it's required that yeah.
Well, and what brought it to my attention was, I believe it was volleyball. There's more away games, pretty substantial away games, past like double the 150. And so I wanted to just make sure that we're on.
If they are practice games or tournaments, that's different than your regular play. So that's why I'm looking at this going, are these regular play games? Because we often, if it's part of their regular play under UHSAA, we do not approve a 150-mile form because that's being done by the region and they're setting that schedule. So looking at this, I mean, their varsity play for football, these should not be on here.
Well,
The board does not is not required to approve those. So if you look at these varsity football games that are further away,
Yeah.
they are not required to be on the 150 mile in our policy.
Well, and my other question to that was,
Because it's required as part of their region play with
If there's an
UHSA.
extra,
So if they're adding additional things on outside of their region play, so
and that was my other question, was if they already approved one location, do they have to approve it multiple times? I mean, because Emory's on there quite a few times, the other sports, do we need to approve those multiple times if we already know
Well,
that we're there in the season?
it's just the schedule, it's not.
All are not in our region,
Oh.
none of them.
so the 4 that are on there
For
are,
varsity
oh, 3 for
football,
football.
Bradsville, Beaver, and Canal.
So they're just extra games outside of the,
They're games people who would play us.
Well,
but they're part of the UHSAA approved schedule, so that's the difference. So that's, because we had quite a bit of discussion about this 2 years ago, was it, Derek, with ADs and with UHSAA of what is required to be approved and what our policy says, so.
So San Juan didn't fill out a 150-mile form because all they're submitting to us is their schedule.
Okay.
It's not a form.
There-
Oh, there is
Yeah,
one.
there
Yeah,
is.
there is the one,
So-
yeah.
But if
Some
you,
of our schools do all of their 150-mile contests on one form, and they give
Yeah.
us one form. And then 2 of our other schools typically do about 6 forms with the 6 different activities and 2 lines filled out. So it's just a matter of getting 1 form or 6, however you want.
well, and the reason why I asked that was because on Monument Valleys, the games that are over 150 miles, they're highlighted, and I guess I need to be color coded or whatever, but it just made it,
You want them highlighted for someone.
just a little bit more clearer if we could for San Juan.
I really like the one page myself,
Yeah.
so.
And it looks like it's inaccurate
I mean, if
anyway. We need to just, because it says attached with the eligibility list, which we don't require that. So
Yeah,
we just need to.
that's a
So
few
I'm
years
going to
ago.
take that feedback back, and we're going to get on the same page with all of our schools and have the same form so that it looks the same for both, so you're not having to dig
That
through
would
and
be great.
figure out what it's doing.
Because
How does
I
that
don't know
sound?
UHSA, SSA, blah, 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 policy, and,
Okay.
and maybe I'm not on the, I haven't been on the board long enough to really like question that, but.
But the
it
fact that
just
you're
was-
even having to question it means we need to streamline our system. So
Yeah,
we'll
thank
fix
you.
that. Thank you for the feedback.
More work for everybody, my
It's-
apologies,
no,
thank
it's-
you though.
No, we do like streamlining, and it's always good to get input. And hopefully, is there any other discussion on that? Because at this time, we could approve the consent agenda if we're good with it. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda is approved. And now we're on to the budget hearing, so I will turn the time over to Dr. Fitzgerald and Jacob Swanson.
All right, we did our preliminary budget hearing in May, so we do have some updates, particularly tax updates, but a few other minor things. So I'll just turn it over to our business administrator, Jacob Swanson.
Yeah, of course, everyone's favorite time of year, right? All right, so last board meeting, I felt like we did a pretty in-depth overview of the revised FY 2026 budget and the proposed FY 27 budget. So with this hearing, I just want to outline some of the changes that have happened since last month. And this is most notably, like Superintendent Fitzgerald mentioned, is the tax information that we've received since our last meeting. So first, I'll have you turn to page 53. Looking at pages 53 and 54 here. All right. So page 53, this outlines San Juan County's centrally assessed property valuations per taxable industry. And page 54 breaks it out by the individual taxpayer. So I mean, that's pretty straightforward, you know, and it just shows the amount of the centrally assessed valuations for, on page 53 per the industry and page 54 per the individual taxpayer. And page 54 shows the top 30, again, centrally assessed taxpayers in San Juan County. Moving on to page 55, this is the big one. So every year, the Board of Education has to approve the tax rates for the upcoming year. Specifically for us, there are 3 of these tax rates that we have some control over. And there are 2 of those that are, and there are 2 outside of the 3 that are set by the state. So the ones that are set by the state are the minimum school program, so that top one that you see there, which is also often called the basic school levy, and the charter levy. So we don't have any control over those numbers. Those are calculated by the state. You'll notice that right now we have a placeholder for the minimum school program or the basic levy at the top as the exact same as last year. They actually haven't calculated those. They have a deadline for the state to have those calculated. So we won't know what those are until the state releases those to us, and that's that 0.001379. So all of the estimates that you see in here and on the next page for revenue are based upon that estimate. And then the rate of the charter levy, that one has come out. So that's the 0.00000022, very, very small number there. Now I just wanted to talk a little bit about the rates that we do have to set every year. And to start out, we have a relatively new board, and I'm also new in my position as well. So I thought that it would be helpful to explain what is called the certified auditor's rate. So every year, the auditor gives their certified rate for the voted leeway, the board local levy, and the capital local levy. Those are the three that you as a school board, I should say, have to set every year. And if you take these three rates, the three auditor certified rates, and add them up, we get what I'm going to just refer to informally as the total certified rate. So if we want to exceed the total certified rate that is set by the auditor, we have to go through a process that's called truth in taxation. Without going through truth in taxation, without having to go through truth in taxation, we have the ability to allocate the total certified rate across those three that you as a board decide. And again, that's voted leeway, board local levy, and capital local levy, with a couple of caveats there. So the first caveat is that the maximum that we are allowed to put in the voted leeway is 0.0016. This is something that's voted on as a county, and the rate was voted upon in 2006. So 0.0016 is the most that we're allowed to put into that category. And likewise, there's a state maximum, and there's some exceptions to this if you have bonding, which isn't applicable for us. So for our purposes, the state maximum allowed for capital local levy is 0.003. So we can never exceed those. In order to maximize our state matching funds for that minimum school program, we have to have what is referred to as 20 increments combined in our voted leeway and our board local levy. So 20 increments, or in other words, 0.002, if you add those up. So in other words, the sum of these two has to be at least 0.002 for us to get the maximum amount of the minimum school program funding from the state. So in the last several years, we have been reaching the 20 increments and then putting the rest towards the capital local levy up until the point that we reach the max in the capital local levy. In fiscal years 23, 24, and 25 that you see on here, we did reach the maximum of 0.003 units in the capital local levy. And so some of the leftover from those years was reallocated into the board local levy, where we have a little bit of leeway to go above there isn't the same restrictions as there is in the voted leeway. But then you see in fiscal year 2026, we were just shy of the maximum there, so we had the 20 increments, and then after that, we only had 0.002629 to put in capital local levy. This year, the total certified rate is just shy of us being able to max out the 0.003 for our capital local levy. As you can see there, the rate for that one would be 0.002999. So it's essentially 0.003, which is the maximum. So just a lesson on how they come up with the certified rate at the state. The certified rate is approximately equal to revenue received from the prior year plus any new growth. So new growth isn't higher assessed property value. New growth is a significant new build. So new property build or a significant new add-on to existing property. So that's important to mention because with that being said, there is a negative correlation between assessed valuation and the certified tax rates. If you see assessed valuations in the county go up, that would correlate with a negative certified tax rate. So as assessed values go up, that total certified tax rate goes down. So this year we can see that our certified rate is slightly higher than it was last year. And that's most notable by noticing that our capital local levy rate for this year is just slightly higher than what we had proposed for last year. And this is due to the total assessed property values having decreased. And if you look at the next page, you can see that our estimated assessed valuations last year were about 1.15 or 1.115 billion through San Juan County, and this year it's 1.071. So because the assessed values throughout the county went down slightly, that's why you see that slight increase in our total certified rate. So I know this is a lot of information. It can be a little bit confusing. That's why I wanted to kind of give an overview of how we come up with those numbers, and that they're not randomized. I don't know how they come up with them in their specificity, other than, again, that the certified rate comes out by total revenue last year plus new growth. So with that being said, are there any questions so far as tax rates go? Okay, so at the end of the hearing, the board will have to vote to approve the tax rates. And again, this is just to approve those three that we talked about: the voted leeway, board local levy, and capital local levy. Those are the ones that we have control over, and those are the ones that will be voted on today. And I've laid out my recommendations here, and we are not able to exceed those because we have not gone through the process of truth in taxation. And frankly, it would probably not be my recommendation to do that unless we came to the point where we were starting to fall below those 20 increments for the voted leeway and the board local levy. All right, moving on, let's go to page 56. Again, this is just the revenues there. So another thing to note here is that we're still only estimating the revenue from the minimum school program, which is also called the basic school levy, because we haven't received that number yet. All right, now moving on to one of the other changes that happened from last month, let's move over to page 67. This is the capital outlay fund. This is kind of a happy change. We did receive another allocation in the last month from our impact aid. That needed to be reflected in the revised budget for fiscal year 2026 in capital outlay fund. So you can see that looking at the last section there, impact aid, the revenue from last year. And I can tell you, I believe I have written down what it changed from. So last year, and I guess I'll give an overview of this real quick too. Allocations from impact aid are based upon availability. So we didn't know if we would receive any more for this fiscal year. Even though we have the number that we qualify for, it's kind of a pot. And so if the pot runs out, then there isn't any more to allocate. But luckily the pot did not run out for us this year. And so we did receive that final allocation, which is very happy news. So the federal revenues that you see on the bottom of page 67 under impact aid, for fiscal year 2026, it went from last hearing that we had last month from 1,778,571 to this now is showing 3,723,214. So very on the same page as that. If we go to page 84. You'll also see an impact aid allocation on there as well. On page 84 in the middle there, you'll see impact aid, revised budget 2026. Last month it showed 0, but because of this allocation now it shows 1,352,914. So those are the revenue changes that you'll see. Other than that, the expenditures and revenues are the same across the board. But the last change I wanted to outline here is going back again to page 69. Sorry, I'm making you go back and forth a little bit here. But pages 69 through, I think I have it written down here, 69 to 83. So this is a list of all the small miscellaneous projects by location. The board asked me at last board meeting to have this updated for today's board meeting, so these figures are up to date as of June 9th. So while this isn't a state requirement for us to include this as part of our budget every year, it is still really useful information for the board to see. Because we typically need board approval on capital projects that exceed 80,000, you're already kind of aware of what those projects are going on across the school district, but we don't have to have board approval for those projects that are under 80,000, so it is useful for us to be able to see what some of those smaller projects are. The last update before the June 9th update for this was May 3rd, 2024 that you can see on there. So anything after that date will be different from the list that you saw at last board meeting. So some of the items that are listed as completed in 2024 and thereon after will be new from last board meeting to this board meeting. Another thing to note here is that we have been conducting regular meetings with our board capital committee, which consists of President Barton and board member Nielsen. During those meetings, we have created a list just of possible capital projects by location. The list that you see here used to include some of those future projects, but those were removed in lieu of the new, more formalized list that we've been working together. So if you want me to send that over to you, just let me know, and I can absolutely send those over. So I just wanted to point out that we do have a very fantastic buildings and grounds crew that's led by Steve Frankum. You know, they've been doing a fantastic job at updating our schools and our grounds here, just trying to make them a better and more enjoyable space for our students and our employees and the public. And this is reflected by the projects that you see on this list that have happened over the last couple of years. And with that, we have our revised fiscal year 2026 budget and our proposed fiscal year 2027 budget. And if there are any questions, hopefully I have the answer. I see Jennifer's out here too, so if I don't, maybe she will too, so.
I saw a typo.
I have a few questions, Jacob.
Let's hear them.
So I know last month we had a review of the spend down balance. Is that, I didn't follow if we had that down on here too.
The review of the spend down balance, we actually had that review back in October, I believe. I referenced it briefly during this meeting,
That's probably
or
what
during
it
the
was.
May board meeting, just to let the board know that I want to have that same conversation, probably a little bit earlier this year. But yeah, we won't know what our unassigned fund balance is going to be for fiscal year 2027, until this is all formalized, and then they usually have that listed in the report for us. So hopefully in August, but if not in August, September, I want to have that be part of the board meeting to discuss what our unassigned, and that's in the general fund. So Fund 10, our unassigned fund balance in Fund 10, and our recommendations. The state has its recommendation for a certain percentage, and I believe that's 25% of last year's expenditure in the general fund, to have that as a safe hold, and just to be able to cover emergency expenses and whatnot. And so we'll all, during that time, talk about what 25% would equal, kind of what, Superintendent Fitzgerald and I would have as our own recommendation, which is more in the 30 to 35% range. We mentioned that back in October too. We have a heavy reliance on things that are out of our control, as everyone does, but one of those big things is impact aid, which is usually, it can be anywhere as high as a fifth of our entire budget. And so it's nice for us to have a little nest in there, just to, if anything was to ever happen with impact aid. But we would like to review at that time too what funds we do have to spend down, so.
Okay. And I think that just went into what you answered everything with the small capital projects that need to be, or submitted for June, and we went over that with the checklist.
Perfect.
And then the capital expenditures for the possibility of new schools, and you covered that too, so.
Perfect, okay.
Yay.
All right.
One question to answer 3. So just that was my notes from last
Perfect,
month, too.
okay, awesome.
I just want to say this is a pretty impressive piece of work here.
Well, thank you. I've got to give a huge shout out to my staff there in the business office, Jennifer Johnson, Jonathan English, Malin Grover, and just everybody has played a big part, and they do every year in the creation of the budget. I couldn't do without them. I tell Jennifer that at least once a day. I'm sure that we really do have a great crew up at the business office, and I'm very happy to be able to have them, especially in my first year here, to support me in all of this. So
Yeah, very easy to read, very straightforward.
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Not confusing and answered all my questions. So
Awesome, okay.
That's a feat. Thank you, Jennifer. I don't know how much that's taken, but I'll thank Jennifer. No, I'm kidding. Awesome.
Anybody else?
Did you have any questions?
Awesome work.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we move on to the public comment portion. And so at this time, I have a comment. Denise, how do you say your name? Clausen. So you're welcome to come up. Is the microphone still on, or? Okay.
Good evening.
So just a reminder, is it 3 minutes still? So yeah, if you have the ability to do a timer on that for her.
Only if I'm gonna mention it if they want to see it. Because I should be at 2 minutes and like 55 seconds.
Ms. Clausen, do you want me to pass out that handout that you had?
I'm afraid if I do, you're gonna read it while I'm talking.
Oh,
So can I say
fair
that?
enough, fair
Or
enough.
after?
Okay.
Thank you very much. So yes, so good evening, everyone. And my name is Denise Parrott Clausen. I live at 25 Porcupine Lane in Old LaSalle. And I drove here tonight with my husband. Actually, he drove, I rode, to share some commendations and to make one request. First, allow me to begin by thanking you all for what you do. As a former assistant superintendent and Department of Education instructional specialist from Virginia, I know what's involved in building a district budget, and I commend you for having the most user-friendly budget I have ever read in my 40 years experience reading school budgets. So for your first year, wow.
Thank you.
I'm also here to honor Amanda Shoup-Page for all her work at the LaSalle School. I have nothing but praise for them, but because I have to stick to 3 minutes, I have to move on. I'm thrilled to see that the school marquee for the LaSalle Elementary is in the budget, and I hope it will be a freestanding sign near the road rather than a replacement of the small sign on the building. A freestanding sign is easier to see as you approach town, and it's what we have for the library. Other than the new concrete steps, the appearance of the outside of the school hasn't changed much in the last decade. And I believe the marquee will go a long way to allay comments that I've heard lately in the community that the school is actually closed. The renovation of the grass field, which is also in your budget, will also help in this regard, and it will support the hard work of community members such as Sandra Marshall and Tara Long, who have taken the initiative to raise money, purchase athletic gear, and start a sports program for the youth in our community. I hope both of these items, the marquee and the replanting of the grass field, stay in the budget and could be accomplished in the coming school year. Now to my request. I read on the front page recently of the San Juan Record, bottom fold of the front page, the May 27th issue, that you may have excess funds available which might be dedicated to capital projects. And this is the knowledge that prompted me to come here this evening and wave the LaSalle Elementary flag. I meant to wear my stallion t-shirt, but I forgot to change my blouse before we left. To respectfully request that some of these excess funds be spent on its parking lot. I have photos of its current condition, which I can cast if you want to see them. Because I believe parts of it are actually unsafe. I think repaving the parking lot is another item that will help keep children who are running and playing, and staff and families coming to the school to attend events safe, and also get some positive attention in the community. It's hard to know what good things are happening in the school when the outside doesn't really reflect that. I know there are always multiple places where money can be spent, but this is one item that is long overdue and will make a big difference for the school and the community, as the LaSalle Community Center and the library also use the same parking lot. Again, I thank you for all you do and for this opportunity to provide input. May the district continue to thrive and provide educational and social experiences that are challenging, safe, and fun for students, staff, families, and community members. Now I'll give you that. And if you want to see photos,
Thank you.
we can cast them. Up to the board.
I can, yeah. You could also email them to us.
Okay, whichever
Yeah.
works best for the board.
I think go ahead and cast them just so that, yeah.
We have pictures as well.
And we do have pictures, yes.
We do. We have them, but you're more than welcome to either send them to our public comment or to email you all as part of that, and we'll distribute them out to the board as well.
Awesome,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
And we will have somebody reach out to you
Thank you.
related to that later, so. Did we have anything else, Eva? So do we start with the budget action item first?
I'll make a motion if we're at that point.
We are at that point, just give me a second to get acclimated. Okay, did anybody need any more time, or, okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm almost done here.
Yeah.
I'll motion to adopt the revised fiscal year 2025 budget and the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget.
That needs to be updated, Ron. I'm sorry. I'm making the updates to that right now.
Sorry about that.
There you go. That should be up to date now.
Fresh, right?
Try this again. So yeah, it should be 2026 and 2027.
Yeah.
I also updated the tax numbers on there too.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
See if I can get back to there. Somebody else wants to, I'm not allowed to get back.
I make a motion to adopt the revised fiscal year 2026 budget and the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget, and to also set the tax rate at the certified rate by setting the board local levy at .0004, the voted local levy at .0016, and the capital local levy at .000299.
I forgot 19 on there, so 0.002999.
What Jacob said.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. And we can move on with, the next item would be the curriculum, the Read 180 curriculum adoption.
I motion to approve the Red 180 reading intervention curriculum beginning in the school year 2026-2027.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. We just need a motion for the LEA-specific license and endorsements.
I would like to motion to approve the LEA-specific license and endorsement as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then we'll need a motion related to the responses.
I'll make a motion to approve the official responses to formally submit comments as provided. Formally submitted comments as provided.
I'll second. I'll second.
Still beat you.
Okay, I still got it that time. And that's related to the education of the Native American students. favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Here we go. The next is the RFP related to White Horse High, Montezuma Creek Housing, and Xeriscape.
So if you'll notice, I put 2 alternates in there, so either one of those motions, depending on the way you want to go.
I will accept a motion and then we can have a discussion related to that.
I will make a motion to approve the base bid and bid alternate 1 for Ward Landscapes to install xeriscaping at White Horse High School and Montezuma Creek Housing.
All together?
Wait, yeah, that's what he just
My
said.
motion would include the housing.
So do I have a second for that?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, so let's have a discussion about
The bid.
where we're standing with that. Go ahead and say why you wanted to make that motion, I guess.
Reason I think if we're gonna do this and we're gonna put that type of effort into the high school and really improve how that looks, the curb appeal, and just that you shouldn't just drive around the corner and still see that old. I think, as he said, I think, you know, we're not loaded with money by any means, but we're doing it at this time. We should do it right, in my opinion. I think
Thank you.
the housing needs to be done as well.
As I said, I've seen the stuff that we've done with the high school and the new elementary school, and people in the community are seeing that. But our community is not just Blanding, it's not just Montezuma Creek, you know, we are the district, and with this as an option, with somebody willing to do both, I feel like it's a good way to go also, but.
I agree. I mean, if we're gonna do something of this magnitude, we might as well include all that needs to be done, and I think it's long overdue, and we'll go matching with the rest of the district too, for Monticello, Blanding, Ariel, and the new elementary as well, so.
I could have went either way on this one, but I'm glad that you guys said that you wanted the additional xeriscaping, because that does make a lot of sense. And of course, bringing the whole project in twice would be another big chunk of money that we could use elsewhere.
And the school does need a facelift. That's
Agreed.
probably since it started.
And that's probably just one step in that direction, but it's a good step, so.
I think it's one of the most common asked for things, is to get beautification there at White Horse, right? So.
And the trees will be a nice addition too,
Yeah.
because everybody likes to meet outside of the school after all their
Yeah.
events. And
Yeah.
all right, so we can vote at this time. So again, the motion is to approve the bid, the base bid and bid alternate 1 for Ward Landscapes to install the xeriscaping at White Horse and Montezuma Creek Housing. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The next thing is Montezuma Creek Elementary floor covering RFP.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid for Creative Floors to replace floor coverings at Montezuma Creek Elementary School.
I second.
Any discussion related to that? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes, and now we can move on to the information items.
All right, the board has indicated we will not be holding the July 21st board meeting. Oh, looks like I have the wrong date. I think it's August 4th.
I think it's duplicated from last year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny.
So it is August 4th will be our next board meeting. So make sure that you remember the ribbon cutting will be that day as well at BES, as the decision from today from the board. We do have our July 4th holiday and our July 24th holiday, so enjoy your July holidays. And we look forward to working with those board members who are able to help on the policy committee, and have a wonderful month of July.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn our board meeting.
I'll second.
I was right on
We
third.
both got that one.
Eva, you can pick.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Are you guys okay to put away so I can get on the road?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I'm going to go in and
It's gonna be a